Hello. Hi guys, thank you for joining the live stream. Good evening. We are getting back to our book Shakti and Shakta by Sir John Woodruff, aka Arthur Avalon, after many days. Today is a very important chapter in the book. It's probably one of the longest chapters in the book. And this chapter itself is called Shakti and Shakta. And it's a pretty big chapter, so we will try to not. I will try to not look at the comment section at all, so that I can read through it and understand, contemplate, and then of course discuss those things as much as possible, because this is pretty heavy and deep stuff, as you all know, those who have been following the live stream of this particular book, that it's pretty dense stuff, especially for people like me who are beginners in Hindu philosophy. Very advanced stuff is discussed here. So thank you for joining, guys. Om Namah Shivaya. Yes. Oh, let me turn the chat into live chat so that I can watch, keep up properly. Start karo. Yes. I just heard jihadis are destroying Sharda Peeth to build a cafe. Yeah, I heard so. Darth Vader is saying, can you tell me why many Bengali UC, what's Bengali UC? Different Christianity. Many RKM followers, different Christianity. Yes, they worship Jesus Christ. Do they not know about cultural genocide that missionaries have done by converting people? I think it's a testosterone deficiency issue. I can't say more than that without pissing off the entirety of Bengal society. Om Namah Shivaya. And another proof of testosterone deficiency would be them saying that no, the way we worship Lord Ram in Bengal, that soft, nice way inside our Ramakrishna Mission monasteries, that's the way to do it, not how these stupid Biharis do it, okay? So you get it. Vinay Singh is saying, Dada, have you found those cringe videos from Bihar where people are doing crazy things they sell as funny video? For some reason, my father found them funny, but for me it is crazy. My upbringing didn't happen in Bihar. I was raised in Maharashtra. I think Biharis need moral lessons. Yeah, people of different generations find different things funny, bad, good, etc. Okay, so it's a generation gap. Isme kya hai? So, Shakti and Shakta. Shakti, who is in herself pure bliss consciousness, or Chidrupini, is also the mother of nature and is nature itself, born of the creative play of her thought. The Shakta faith or worship of Shakti is, I believe, in some of its essential features, one of the oldest and most widespread religions in the world. Though very ancient, it is yet in its essentials and in the developed form in which we know it today, it is harmonious with some of the teachings of modern philosophy and science. Not that this is necessarily a test of its truth, but it is so. It may be here noted that in the West, and in particular in America and England, a large number of books are now being published on quote-unquote new thought, willpower, vitalism, creative thought, right thought, self-unfoldment, secret of achievement, mental therapeutics, etc., and the like. The principles of which are essentially those of some forms of Shakti sadhana, both higher and lower. This is a very interesting point, and it's interesting that Arthur Avalon was writing about it in 1918, right? Or 1906. When did he write this book? 1914, I think, as far as I remember. Let me just check the date. Because this is what I keep complaining about the California liberals, right? That they are saying things about chakra healing, etc., and all the terminology, all the concepts that we can find mainly in Tantra. And a lot of terminology they have gotten because of Aurobindo Institute as well. Sri Aurobindo and Aurobindo Institute are also two very different things. So Sri Aurobindo's use of particular words for specific Hindu concepts are very popular in California. The point is, none of those California liberals, almost most of them, 90% of them probably, don't know that these come from Hinduism, or they deliberately won't give credit to Hinduism. And then there are people like, you all know who, from Hinduism, who go around telling them that yoga is not Hindu. So they get an extra sanction to speak horseshit. Baki sab kaha gaye. Cringe is relativity. Dada, please, aaj ekta horror story bolo na. Okay, dekhi chapter ta boro to shesh hole dekhchi. Shakti sadhana, both higher and lower. There are books of disguised magic as how to control, or vashikarana, by making them buy what they do not want, how to secure quote-unquote affection, and so forth, which, notwithstanding some hypocrisies, are in certain respects on the same level as the Tantric Savara, as a low class of books on magic are called, Savar Tantra. Savara or Chandala are almost the lowest of men. The ancient and at the same time distinguishing character of the faith meaning how to differentiate this particular faith, Shakta, from others. The distinguishing character of the faith is instanced by the temple worship. The old Vedic worship was generally in the home or in the open by the river, but later on it went to the temples. The cult of images, meaning idols, of linga and yoni, neither of which it is said were part of the original Vedic practice. The worship of devis and of the magna mater, meaning the great Vedika Devata was the male Indra, and other matters of both doctrine and practice. So these are the things specific to Shaktism, but not the other things in the West being preached, which seem to be borrowed or stolen from Hinduism. That's how we differentiate it. Many years ago, Edward Sellon, with the aid of a learned Orientalist of the Madras Civil Service, attempted to learn its mysteries, but for reasons which I need not here discuss, did not view them from the right standpoint. He, however, compared the Shaktas with the Greek telestica or dynamica, the mysteries of Dionysus, quote-unquote fire born in the cave of initiation, with the Shakti Puja, the Shakti Sodhana, with the, okay, he associated these with these, okay, so the sentence construction is very old school, no, so you all will have to follow me here. So this guy, Edward Sellon, an Orientalist of the Madras civil servant, he compared the Shaktas with the Greek telecasta or dynamica. He compared the mysteries of Dionysus, that is the fire born in the cave of initiation, he compared that with Shakti Puja. He compared Shakti Sodhana with the purification shown in D. Han Carvallis's anti-Greek anti-Greek vases. And after referring to the frequent mention of this ritual in the writings of the Jews and other ancient authors, he concluded that it was evident that we had still surviving in India in the Shakti worship a very ancient, if not the most ancient form of mysticism in the whole world. Whatever be the value to be given to any particular piece of evidence, he was right in his general conclusion. Because when we throw our minds back upon the history of this worship and we see stretching away into the remote and fading past the figure of the mighty mother of nature, most ancient among the ancients, the Adya Shakti, the dusk divinity, many-breasted, crowned with towers whose veil is never lifted, Isis, the one who is all that has been, is and will be, Kali, Hathor, Cybele, the cow mother goddess Ida, Tripura Sundari, the iconic mother, Tef, the spouse of Su, by whom he affects, he meaning capital H, he affects the birth of all things, Aphrodite, Astarte, in whose groves the Baalim were set, Babylonian Milita, Buddhist Tara, the Mexican Ish, Hellenic Osea, the consecrated, the free and pure African Salambo, who like Parvati roamed the mountains, Roman Juno, Egyptian Bast, the flaming mistress of life, of thought, of love, whose festival was celebrated with wanton joy, the Assyrian mother Sakat Benoth, northern Freya, Mula Prakriti, Semele, Maya, Ishtar, Satic ninth mother of the gods, eternal and deepest ground of all thing, Kundali, Guhya Mahabhairavi, and all the rest. Wow. So according to at least that guy, all these were essentially same. So you see how everything before and after Abrahamic faiths appeared, everything changed. Before that, the world could have been well claimed to be one single religion, and therefore Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Everyone used to worship similar gods with similar characteristics in similar ways, more or less. Abrahamic faiths changed everything. Interesting. And yet there are people who allege the quote-unquote tantric cult is modern. To deny this is not to say that there has been or will be no change or development in it. As man changes, so do the forms of his beliefs. An ancient feature of this faith, and one belonging to the ancient mysteries, is the distinction which it draws between the imitate, whose Shakti is awake, Prabuddha, and the Pashu, the unillumined or animal, and as the Gnostics called him, material man. Yeah. And those kinds of people are called Pashu. The natural, which is the manifestation of the mother of nature, and the spiritual, or the mother as she, is in and by herself are one. But the initiate alone, okay, Dikshit, जिसका दीक्षा हुआ है. The initiate alone truly recognizes this unity. He knows himself in all his natural functions as the one consciousness, whether in enjoyment, that is bhakti, or liberation, mukti. It is an essential principle of tantric sadhana that man in general must rise through and by means of nature, and not by an ascetic rejection of her, okay? The man must rise through and by means of nature. A profoundly true principle is here involved, whatever has been said of certain applications of it. When Orpheus transformed the old Bacchic cult, it was the purified who, in the beautiful words of Euripides, quote unquote, went dancing over the hills with the daughters of Iacchos. I cannot, however, go into this matter in this paper, which is concerned with some general subjects and the ordinary ritual, but the evidence is not limited to mysteries of the Shakti Puja. There are features in this ordinary outer worship which are very old and widespread, as are also other parts of the esoteric teaching. In this connection, a curious instance of the existence beyond India of tantric doctrine and practice is here given. The American Indian Maya scripture of the Zunis, called the Popul Vuh, speaks of huracan or lightning, that is, I am told, Kundalini Shakti, and they also speak of the quote unquote air tube or white cord, or the Sushumna Nadi and they also speak of the twofold air tube, that is Ida and Pingala. Wow. And of various bodily centers which are marked by animal glyphs. This is very, very interesting. Perhaps the Panchatattva ritual followed by some of the adherents of the Tantras is one of the main causes which have operated in some quarters against acceptance of the authority of these scriptures, and as such responsible for the notion that the worship is modern. On the contrary, the usage of wine, meat, and so forth is itself very old. There are people who talk of these rites as though they were some entirely new and comparatively modern invention of the quote unquote Tantra, as if they were wholly alien to the spirit and practice of the early times. If the subject be studied, it will, I think, be found that in this matter, those worshippers who practice these rites are, except possibly to the Maithuna, they are the continuators of very ancient practices which had their counterparts in the earlier Vedikachara, but were subsequently abandoned, possibly under the influence of Jainism and Buddhism. Wow. I say counterpart because I do not mean to suggest that in every respect the rites were the same. In details and as regards, I think some objects in view, they differed. Thus we find in this Panchatattva ritual that a counterpart, we find in this Panchatattva ritual a counterpart to the Vedic usage of wine and animal food. As regards wine, we have the partaking of soma, meat was offered in Mamsastaka Shraddha, fish in the Ashtaka Shraddha and Preta Shraddha, and Maithuna as a recognized rite will be found in the Vamadevya Vrata and Mara Vrata of universally recognized Vedic texts from the alleged and generally unknown Saubhagya Kanda of the Atharva Veda, to which the Kalikopanishad and other Tantric Upanishads are said to belong. Possibly, however, this element of Maithuna may be foreign and imported by Sinachara. So again, as that distinguished scholar Professor Ramendra Sundara Trivedi has pointed out in his Vichitra Prasanga, the mudra of Panchatattva corresponds with the Purodasa cake of the Soma and other yagas. The present rule of abstinence from wine, and in some cases meat, is due, I believe, to the original Buddhism. It is so-called Tantrics who follow in and for their ritual only the earlier practice, meaning the meat and wine, etc. It is true that the Samhita of Ushana says, the Samhita of Ushana says, wine is not to be drunk, given or taken. Madhyam, apayam, adeyam, agrahyam. But the yet greater Manu states, there is no wrong in the eating of meat or the drinking of wine. Na mamsa bhakseno dosho na madhye. Though he rightly adds, as many now do, that abstention therefrom is productive of great fruit. Nivrittistu mahaphala. The tantric practice does not allow extra ritual or quote unquote useless drinking, of course. Vrithapana, okay? Britha pan korona modar ki. Dada, your opinion on Vivek Vindra's scam? I don't know who that is. Whole Arya Samaj is based on lies. Lol. I never understood why Dayanand Saraswati was against idol worshipping. He uses the same logic that Dr. Zakir Naik uses. Hmm. You know, I have read some arguments against idol worship even from core primary texts, but the problem is that that viewpoint of primary, even like something like Sri Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, is being misused by these so-called Hindu movements against idol worship only with the sole goal to compensate for their a bit of testosterone deficiency, but also whatever the times were that they had to cope and survive among so many people who hated Hindus. So they had to come off across as, see, we are also as great as you all. We don't really think idol worshipping should be done. Even our texts say so. But the problem is that all texts in Hinduism which do say that yes, idol worship is not the sole goal here. The point is that they always say idol worship, you can move beyond idol worship only if you are that advanced an upasaka, sadhaka, or a even day-to-day worshipper, okay? That is not possible for most people, especially people who are going on about with their own other professions, Vaishyas, Kshatriyas, etc. Some very specific sadhakas who are spending a lifetime of austerity and upasana, they can move beyond idol worship because in their mind they are one with the gods already. They don't need a visual cue, okay? Idols are a visual cue, and it's absolutely clear in every primary text as well that as a beginner you have to use a visual cue, whether it's a yantra or an idol. I think people who don't support idol worship are just suffering from inferiority complex. Yes, they are. The tantric practice does not allow extra ritual. Okay. Further, it is a common error to confound two distinct things, namely belief and practice, and the written records of those beliefs and practices. These written records may be comparatively recent, while that of which they speak may be most ancient. Exactly. This is always the case with Hindu texts, remember, guys. Ramayana, Mahabharata, or at least Rig Veda. It doesn't matter when they were written. It matters when they were being told to people, when they were composed, so to speak. When I speak of the ancient past of this faith, I am not referring merely to the writings which exist today, which are called tantras. These are composed generally in a simple Sanskrit by men whose object it was to be understood, rather than to show skill in literary ornament. Yeah, so they were not looking to graduate as a Sanskrit PhD. This simplicity is a sign of age, but at the same time, it is Laukika and not Arsa Sanskrit. Moreover, there are statements in them which, unless interpolations, they fix the limits of their age. I am not speaking of the writings themselves, but of what they say. The faith that they embody, or at least its earlier forms, may have existed for many ages before it was reduced to writing amongst the coolers or family folk, who received it as handed down by the tradition. Paramparya. Okay, what's this spelling? Paramparya. Yeah. Paramparya. Just as did the Vedic Gotras. Yeah. That such beliefs and practices, like all other things, have had their development in course of time is also a likely hypothesis. I want to make one thing clear here, what I just said here, that it's inferiority complex, or it might be a mixture of fear, etc. So I'm not therefore saying that Ramakrishna Mission or Arya Samaj need to be discarded completely, or that, I mean, they are the most evil thing on earth and we are all brave people. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that is my diagnosis, and it is understandable that they suffer from testosterone deficiency or fear, etc. Okay, or inferiority complex, because we all have to suffer in a Sharia compliant nation, more or less, and especially Bengalis who live in a Sharia compliant state. So you'll never see me too harshly criticizing Islam, forget too harshly criticizing Trinamool Congress, because one thing you'll have to know is Trinamool Congress is pretty secular when it comes to killing people. Okay, I challenge you, if you are a Muslim, I challenge you to criticize Trinamool Congress very, very harshly, bring up arguments against them continuously, and I would like to see you stay alive for more than 2 years, okay? Even if you are Muslim. So we are all making concessions and adjusting to the society around us. So I understand why Ramakrishna Mission and Arya Samaj do it, but we still have to call it for what it is. A vast number of tantras have disappeared, probably forever. Of those which survive, a large number are unknown. Most of those which are available are of fragmentary character. Kya depressing line hai. Even if these did appear later than some other shastras, this would not, on Indian principles, affect their authority. According to such principles, the authority of a scripture is not determined by its date. And this sense, And this sense, why it is asked, should something said, why it is asked, should something said 1000 years ago be on that account only truer than what was said 100 years ago? This is a great question, okay? He's doing a Purva Paksha with himself, that why should we conclude that something said 1000 years ago is truer than something said 100 years ago? Interesting. Let's see. It is held that while the teachings of the Agama is ever existent, particular tantras are constantly being revealed and withdrawn. There is no objection against a tantra merely because it was revealed today. When it is said that Shiva spoke the tantras or Brahma wrote the celebrated Vaishnava poem called the Brahma Samhita, it is not meant that Shiva and Brahma materialized and took a reed and wrote on birch or bark or leaf. But that they literally did not sit down to write those things, Shiva and Brahma. But that the divine consciousness to which men gave these and other names inspired a particular man to teach or to write a particular doctrine or work touching the eternally existing truth. Very, very well explained. What a guy, man, this Sir John Woodruff. He has understood these things so well. This again does not mean that there was anyone whispering in his ear. Yes. This does not mean there was anyone whispering in his ear, but it means that these things arose in his consciousness. Yes. What is done in this world is done through man. There is a profounder wisdom than is generally acknowledged in the saying, quote, God helps those who help themselves. There is something more profound in it. Inspiration too never ceases. But how, it may be asked, are we to know that what is said is right and true? The answer is, by its fruits. What results do you get from it? What a way to write this book. Brilliant. It may be asked, how are we to know what is said is right and true? The answer is, by its fruits. The authority of a Shastra is determined by the question whether Siddhi is gained through its provisions or not. It is not enough that Shiva Uvacha is written in it. The test is that of Ayurveda. A medicine is a true one if it cures. The Indian test for everything is actual experience. And this is my answer to anyone who has any doubts about Tantra or Rajashinandi, or who kind of identify themselves with the Hindutva movement but still have doubts about these things and kind of dislike Beer Biceps for hosting Rajashinandi so many times. My answer to you always is this, guys, okay? The Indian test for everything is actual experience, and I have never seen any other kind of mystical viewpoint claim to have the proof in its pudding so much more than tantrics, okay? They are always saying, "Arey, do these steps, follow these steps rigorously for a few months or for years, exactly how it is recommended. Do what we are saying, and then see if what we are experiencing, you are experiencing or not. If you are not doing that, then don't come and complain to us that no, this is unscientific. करके देखो ना, जो कर रहा है वो तो खुद तांत्रिक बन जा रहा है." It is from Samadhi that the ultimate proof of Advaitavad is sought. How is the existence of kalpas known? It is said they have been remembered as by the Buddha, who is recorded as having called to mind 91 past kalpas. There is anyone here from North India? Isn't there a place called Kalpa in Himachal Pradesh? Does that have to do something with this term of Sanskrit Kalpa? There are arguments in favor of rebirth, but that which is tendered as real proof is both the facts of ordinary daily experience, which can, it is said, be explained only on the hypothesis of pre-existence, as also actual recollection by self-developed individuals of their previous lives. Modern Western methods operate through magnetic sleep producing quote-unquote regression of memory, okay? Age, however, is not wholly without its uses, because one of the things to which men look to see in a Shastra is whether it has been accepted or quoted in works of recognized authority. Wow, see, that is how even modern academic scholarship works. How many citations do you have, right? So that is what exactly Sir John Woodruff is saying in terms of Shastra as well, that a value of a Shastra lies in how many times it has been accepted or quoted in other works of recognized authority. Such a test of authenticity can of course only be afforded after the lapse of considerable time. कि 200-300 सालों में बहुत सारे अलग texts या primary sources ने इस शास्त्र को respect दिया है या cite किया है. Such a test of authenticity can of course only be afforded after the lapse of considerable time. But it does not follow that a statement is in fact without value because, owing to its having been made recently, it is not possible to subject it to such a test. This is the way in which this question of age and authority is looked at on Indian principles. That yes, so अब कोई अगर नया आइडिया है उसको हम टेस्ट कैसे करें? तो 200-300 साल वेट करें? नहीं, करके देखो इसका फल क्या होता है. फल में है सब कुछ. Now let me check some comments. No one said this into his ears. It's the ideas grown in his consciousness. Yes, this line, yeah. Is he talking about Vedas? He's talking about this idea that none of our primary sources are written by a man. Okay, they are all composed or thought of by people because the gods made those thoughts arise in their minds. They meditated on it, and therefore, as a result, they came to these ideas. Sri Vigyan Bhairav Tantra se leke Shiva Uvacha, Vedas, everything. We need new Hindu party for Bengalis ASAP. Arey bara ekta hok tarpore notun Hindu party. Get men tapped into their consciousness for knowledge. Exactly. What Ramakrishna Mission does for spreading Hindu philosophy and the way Ramakrishna Mission united all the different sects and faiths within Hinduism is praiseworthy. Yes, at the cost of worshipping Jesus Christ. We are not against Ramakrishna Mission but against Arya Samaj. I am not really against all these people, but I will say that yes, it's weakness. And it's also understandable why it's weakness. See, diagnosing a proper cause for something does not mean justifying that thing or justifying that cause. I'm just understanding what it is, okay? I had this conversation with an ex-girlfriend once upon a time. We were discussing Jay-Z cheating on Beyonce, okay? So I said that Jay-Z must have so many women fawning after him. He's doing so many shows in so many places all around the world. After every show, there are 4 or 5 women trying to suck his dick all the time. How many times, how many days is he going to just think of, no, ghar pe Beyonce hai, ghar pe Beyonce hai, ghar pe Beyonce hai. He still should have done that. But it is understandable that he does end up cheating because of that. But my then girlfriend thought that I'm justifying that his cheating on Beyonce. No, that is not the case. So here in this case also, I am not therefore justifying their fear or weakness, nor am I saying that their fear was unjustified. I'm merely saying that yes, it is fear and weakness, but I also understand why it happened. But none of them are okay. The reason for that fear is not okay, and having that fear is not okay. This is the way in which this question of age and authority is looked at on the Indian principles. Afin is saying RMK unites. You have no idea under whose jurisdiction RKM is. All Swamis of RKM fall under the jurisdiction of the Sringeri Shankaracharya. They are not some Neo Ugapuga. They are a separate organization. Okay. An equation has no meaning to me unless it expresses a thought of God. Yes. Nazrul Islam is said to have gotten paralyzed by doing Tantra wrong. Huh? Shorvunash. A good example is Srinivasa Ramanujan. Vedas was compiled by sage Bharadwaj in King Bharat's court. We need to be rational. So you got the intern of King Bharat to inform you on this. You are exceptionally sure. And if at all they were done in Bharat's court, so what? Where did the ideas come from in his mind? Did he copy them from somewhere? Did he use ChatGPT or did he meditate on it? And the meditation caused him to think of those things. You are not entirely you are not actually understanding what's the idea of God in Hinduism. Many times I receive many ideas in semi dream state. Yes, of course. Ask any top musician. Okay, best of their ideas are when they are having a bath, distracted, or when they are right about to go to sleep, or when they are right before waking up from sleep. Okay, so you are not in control. God is in control. Okay, you are going to think that I am now going to make the best composition ever. Okay, that's not going to happen. The melody is randomly going to come to your mind. And for people who are professional musicians, every day you have to sit to make something or the other anyway. Yeah, then by chance, when you are trying to make a song anyway, a great melody may or may not come. But it doesn't have to be that way. Even for professional musicians, some other time a great melody will come to your mind. And how and what is doing that? I'm not in Bharat's court to write that song. But the question is that whether consciousness is divine or not. Again, depends on what you mean by divine. Have you read the book Hindutva, Hindur Prakrito Itihash by Chandranath Boshu? No, not yet. Someday. Even if it is not a dream state, I am damn sure if I am stuck in a problem and I go to sleep, I get ideas randomly popping in my head. Yes. A wide survey of what is called orthodox Hinduism today, whatever be its origins, will disclose the following results. Vedanta in the sense of Upanishad as its common doctrinal basis, though variously interpreted, and a great number of differing principles or modes of practice by which the Vedanta are realized in actual fact. We must carefully distinguish these two. Thus the Vedanta says Soham, which is Hamsa. Hakara is one wing, Hakara is one wing, Sakara is the other. When stripped of both wings, she, Tara, is Kamakala. This is written in Tantraja Tantra. The acharas set forth the means by which Soham is to be translated into actual fact for the particular sadhaka. Okay. Sadhana comes from the root sadh, which means effort or striving or accomplishment. Effort for and towards what? The answer for those who desire it is liberation from every form in the hierarchy of forms which exist as such, because consciousness has so limited itself as to obscure the reality which it is and which Soham or Shivoham affirms. And why should man liberate himself from material forms? Because it is said, that way only lasting happiness lies, though a passing yet fruitful bliss may be had here by those who identify themselves with active Brahman or Shakti. It is the actual experience of this declaration of Soham, which in its fundamental aspect is Veda, knowledge, vid, or actual spiritual experience, because in the monastic sense, to truly know anything is to be that thing. This Veda or experience is not to be had sitting down thinking vaguely on the great ether, Akasha, and doing nothing. Man must transform himself, that is, act, in order to know. Therefore, the watchword of the Tantra is Kriya, or action. Again, yeah, I was just about to mention some other thing, and this sentence kind of affirms what I was about to say, which is that, see, the discipline to sit down every day to do a puja is what I'm saying, of course, is the atheist justification for doing puja part, but also that discipline will lead you to have discipline in other things. Similarly, whether because of the puja or not, if you sit every day at the same time to sit down, if you are a professional writer or a musician, that is, or whatever be your profession, if you are an office goer, तो तब तो तुमको करना ही है, no option. But I'm talking in case of self-employed people like me. So every day at a fixed time, you have to sit down with doing music. So that discipline is a sadhana in itself. Indian music teachers always call that sadhana, of course, always. Okay, that is the common term. Now, what is that sadhana? Why is it valuable? Because you are having the discipline to sit down every day. Okay, even if a great melody does not come to your mind, you are waiting for that melody. Okay, that is your sadhana. That is your sadhana. You sit and you just jam on your synthesizer, play random notes, wait for that melody to come. Okay. Now, there's this thing that artists always say, which always annoys me. That is the writer's block. Okay, writer's block is a very annoying thing because no other profession has the luxury to say that they are facing a block. Okay, a truck driver doesn't say that they are facing a truck driver's block, or a doctor doesn't say they are facing a doctor's block, etc. रोज सुबह जाना है काम पे. आर्टिस्ट का ये अलग से उनको लगता है कि हम बड़े एक पेडेस्टल पे है, ऊंचे में हम क्रिएटिव आदमी हैं, हम सबसे ऊपर हैं, एंड देयरफॉर हमारा राइटर्स ब्लॉक है, अब चलो कुछ दिन बैठ के सिर्फ दारू पीते हैं. बट one counter argument from artists would be that yes, truck drivers don't have to be creative every day. They know what they will do. They will drive that truck, they will hold the steering from here to point A to point B. So no creativity required, therefore no truck driver's block. But you see, that same approach can be applied to music or any art form as well. You compose or you paint whatever is coming to your mind. The second solution here is basically what was said by Dan Brown, the author of Da Vinci Code series, and Jordan Peterson as well, which really stuck with me, that the only reason you are not penning down or composing that idea and you are thinking you are suffering from writer's block is all of a sudden you are so arrogant that you are holding yourself to a higher standard than you actually are. Because it's not like nothing is coming to your mind, right? It's not like there's no character or no story idea coming to your mind. But what is in fact coming to your mind, you are thinking it's a bullshit idea. So don't be that arrogant. Whatever comes to mind, just start with it. And sleep on it, take a nap, go for a walk, or next day you can build on it, and then again the same procedure will carry on as it was going to carry on anyway if you did not have that writer's block. So holding yourself to that higher standard or expecting that you are all of a sudden, why isn't a Hans Zimmer like composition coming to mind and therefore I'm suffering from writer's block? No, that's not the way to go about it. Just do the sadhana, just sit down every day with that work, and that melody, you will be blessed with that melody anyway. I mean, all verses in Vedas and are based on daily rituals and some historic battles, like mythological tales, which doesn't need some divine sight. Who told you it doesn't need divine sight? What according to you does need divine sight? Aryan Indra, because you see, anything creative is being brought to this world out of nothing. Okay, it's being created out of nothing. A melody, a painting, a thought, a wisdom, an idea, a strategy. That particular thing does not exist in front of you. You are bringing it to fruition. You are giving birth to it out of your thoughts and your brains and your neurons. Where is that thought coming from? When I wake up, even if I'm not in a dream state, not every verse is like that. Some are highly philosophical, which is great considering the fact that it was written by someone in 2000 BC. Yes, possibly it was taught orally even earlier. Whatever you see in your see in front of you today, based on that you can't say that these things are obvious. It was so obvious that someone would make this synthesizer or this speaker. It's not obvious. Someone had to come up with the idea that I will, whatever I'm singing, it will be recorded and it will be played back to you. Where do these ideas come from? For that you do need something other than just random daily livelihood and seeing things around you. Is my message not visible? Oh yeah, now it's visible. I mean that consciousness is just a neurological event in a certain part of the brain instead of some unity consciousnness with divine or para-Brahman. The point is that I think neurological event, two counter arguments here would be that that neurological event is in itself the unity with consciousness or divine or para-Brahman, or the other counter argument from a believer would be that what is causing that neurological event. I don't see any harm in celebrating Yelu. It is a Indo-European pagan festival, nor with Ramakrishna Jesus Bhakti. Jesus is just Abrahamic form of appropriation of Vedic deity Mitra. Yes, unless that is not clear, Jesus should not be celebrated by Ramakrishna Mission. The next question is, what kriya should be adopted towards this end of jnana? Okay, Abhay, this is kind of what you were talking about. So, and kind of what also I was talking about, that if we think of making music as being in touch with the divine, kriya का तो जगह है ही. क्रिया है कि रोज सुबह बैठ के सिंथेसाइजर लेके बैठो. तन्त्यते विस्त्यार्ते ज्ञानम अनेन इति तंत्रम. According to this derivation of the word tantra from the root tan, to spread, it is defined as the shastra by which knowledge or jnana is spread. Mark the word jnana. The end of the practical methods which these shastras employ is to spread Vedantic jnana. It is here we find that variety which is so puzzling to those who have gone to the root of the religious life of India. The end is substantially one. The means to that end necessarily vary according to knowledge, capacity and temperament. And this is what Ramakrishna Thakur himself meant when he said that Jotomat Totopat. Okay, so that is what Sir John Woodruff is saying here. The end is one. The means to the end necessarily vary according to knowledge, capacity and temperament. That does not mean that going to that end will be by doing Jishu Pujo inside Ramakrishna Mission. That is just a weakness and a cop-out. So I don't mean that actual Christians can't reach that end by worshipping Jesus. I'm saying Ramakrishna Mission can't do that by worshipping Jesus. They are just being weak. But here again we may analyze the means into two main divisions, namely Vedic and Tantric, to which may be added a third or the mixed Misra. The one body of Hinduism reveals, as it were, a double framework represented by the Vedic and Tantric acharas, which have in certain instances been mingled. The word Tantra by itself simply means, as I have already said, treatise, and not necessarily a religious scripture. When it has the latter significance, it may mean the scripture of several divisions of worshippers who vary in doctrine and practice. Thus, there are tantras of Shaivas, Vaishnavas, and Shaktas, and of various subdivisions of these. So, amongst the Shaivas, there are the Shaivas of the Shaiva Siddhanta, the Advaita Shaiva of the Kashmir school, Pashupatas, and a multitude of other sects which have their tantras. And Bengal Shaivism is, of course, gone to hell. If the quote unquote word tantric be used as meaning an adherent to the Tantra Shastra, then the word in any particular case is without definite meaning. A man to whom the application is given may be a worshipper of any of the 5 devtas, Surya, Ganesha, Vishnu, Shiva, Shakti, and of any of the various sampradayas worshipping that devta with varying doctrine and practice. The term is a confusing one, though common practice compels its use. So yeah, interesting argument here that the word tantric or even tantras for that matter is not really very precise, because you see there are tantric ways of doing puja of almost any god. Okay, Surya, Ganesha, Vishnu, Shiva, Shakti, Ram, Hanuman, सबका तांत्रिक उपाय से भी एक वर्शिपिंग होता है. तो हम तांत्रिक बोल के कैसे निकल जाए? Because when we usually what we usually mean when we use the word tantric is specifically Shakti upasakas or sadhakas. So far as I know, those who are named tantrics do not themselves generally use this term, but call themselves Shaktas, Shaivas, and the like of whatever sampradaya they happen to be. Right? Yeah, that's an interesting distinction to make. Again, after every paragraph, I'm going to check a bit of comments. Okay. Ifin is saying, when you already have Mitra, why worship a copied from? If you had real ghee, will you consume one with adulteration? Yeah, almond ghee. Abhay is saying, then the moot question is, what are the ingredients of life? yeah, that can't be discussed like this with reading one comment and me replying. That's a much deeper conversation. We will do this someday when we all meet and gather at one spot. Yeah, I felt why we need the law of calorimetry, because it was obvious that if temperature of A, B are same, B and C are same, then A, B, C are same temperature. But later I knew that the idea of temperature isn't obvious. I don't think end is also the same, because different ways may have different goals. For some it's worldly prosperity, knowledge; for others heaven; for some moksha; for others. Actually, in this case, what they mean the end is, here to learn, the end is being one with God. Okay, monism, that is the end goal here. And for that they are saying there are different ways to go about it. If is saying, no, I'll disagree with you here. Look at the metaphysics of Christianity and Jesus and his dad. It is very much adharmic, as it mimics Hiranyakashipu and what he wanted to do. Think of it. Frankly, I don't know that much of Christianity. All I know is there are some good Christians and some bad Christians, and some devout Christians who will never harm a Hindu in any way. And there are again Christians who will want to harm Hindus and Hinduism, but will never give away the fact that they want to do it. So you might have a more theoretical knowledge of Christianity than me. But all I'm saying is that God, if there is a God and there are at least entities, as Rajesh Nandi would like to say, then they are looking at the people most devout and people who are looking to do the most good, people who are looking to be most disciplined in their lives. Okay, and those gods won't really care if what their procedures or what the name they use is. In that sense, I'm saying that even Christians can actually be one with God. Abhay is saying, is life just a set of chemical reactions? Similarly, the neurological event can be just a set of random chemical reactions which can be stimulated by certain practices like meditation. Yes, it may not have anything to do with divine. The problem is, I think, this thing, the incident you described, which you are saying, this incident is what it is, it does not require the divine. What I have understood so far from these texts is that that incident itself is called divine. And that is where the biggest difference between Abrahamic faiths and Hinduism lie. Historically speaking, Jesus was just a normal guy who wanted to become a social reformer and the king. So ultimately he got killed by the king, and later on he was turned into a god. And even that is disputed. Okay, there's not really any academic consensus on whether Jesus actually exists or not. Like, I have an Anglo-Indian commie friend. She herself told me that no, there was no such thing called Jesus. I was wishing her on a Christmas about 2-3 years back. She said, what's the point? There was no one called Jesus. Of whatever sampradaya they happen to be. Okay. Again, Tantra is the name of only one class of scripture followed by Tantrics. There are others, namely Nigamas, Agamas, Yamals, Damars, Uddisas, Kakshaputas, and so forth. None of these names are used to describe the adherents of these Shastras except, so far as I am aware, Agama in the use of the term Agamvadin and Agamanta in the descriptive name of Agamanta Shaiva. I give later a list of these scriptures as contained in the various agamas. If we summarize them shortly under the term Tantra Shastra, or preferably Agama, then we have four main classes of Indian scripture, namely Veda, which comprise Samhita, Brahmana, Upanishad, then Agama or Tantra Shastra, and Purana and Smriti. Of these Shastras, the authority of the Agama or Tantra Shastra has been denied in modern times. This view may be shown to be erroneous by reference to Shastras of admitted authority. It is spoken of as the fifth Veda. Kulluka Bhatta, the celebrated commentator on Manu, says, Shruti is twofold, Vedic and Tantric. Vedic Tantriki Chaiva Dvividha Shruti Kirtita. This refers to the mantra portion of the Agamas. In the great Vaishnava Shastra, the Srimad Bhagavata, Bhagwan says, my worship is of the three kinds, Vedic, Tantric and Misra. Vedic, Tantric and Misra. And that in Kali Yuga, Keshava is to be worshipped according to the injunction of the Tantra. The Devi Bhagavata speaks of the Tantra Shastra as a Vedanga. It is cited as authority in the Ashtavimsati Tattva of Raghunandana, who prescribes for the worship of Durga as before him had done Sridatta, Harinatha, Vidyadhara and many others. Okay, so Ashtavimsati Tattva of Raghunandana is, this person is that Raghunandan Bhattacharya, right? Raghunandan Bhatta or Bhattacharya, who basically popularized the idea of Durga worship in Bengal. Some of these and other and he kind of I had roughly read some portion of a random thing somewhere on the internet. The idea I got was that Raghunandan Bhattacharya kind of appropriated, would be a very harsh word to use, but that's kind of what he did in order to popularize or start the Durga Puja worshipping in Bengal. But his idea was mainly of the Devi Vindhyavasini. Vindhyavasini ka appropriation करके Durga Puja लाया गया. That was something roughly I had read. Although the Durga Puja that we actually do is not really Ma Durga, that's actually Devi Katyayani. Some of these and other references are given in Mahamahopadhyaya, Yadaveshwara Tarkaratnas, Tantrer Prachinotto. Okay, so Tantrer Prachinotto, these are Bengali texts. Yeah, this is why Rajesh Nandi says that the best books in Tantra are in Bengali, in fact. So Tantrer Prachinotto, for those non-Bengalis here, it means that the oldness of Tantra. Okay, so this guy is Bengali. Okay, so let's pronounce the word in Bengali. মহামহোপাধ্যায় যাদবেশ্বর তর্করত্ন, তার লেখা তন্ত্রের প্রাচীনত্ব in the Sahitya Samhita of Ashwin in the year 1317. The Tara Pradipa and other tantric works say that in the Kali Yuga, the Tantrika and not the Vedic Dharma is to be followed. This objection about the late character and therefore unauthoritativeness of the Tantra Shastras generally, it has been taken by the Indians from their European gurus. I do not speak of any particular form of it, but it has been taken by the Indians from their European gurus. Lol. Okay, let me check some comments once again. Tantra Prachinotto is the antiquity of Tantras. I see. Okay, if he's saying bhai orokom keu thakle or religio cultural ghar wapsi kora dorkar so that her bloodline doesn't become enemy to our future generations. Ar ami bhai 14 bochor missionary school e porechi. Yes. You can't do her ghar wapsi because she is Anglo-Indian. Her father's side is Portuguese in blood. Her mother's side is Bengali Hindu. But in Navadurga, Katyayani form is different and is said to have slain Mahishasura, but most importantly was daughter of Katyayani. Oh, acha. Gopis worshipped her to get Krishna. I see. Okay, let's see what Abhay was saying. Wait. Abhay was giving interesting arguments here. Let me good. Suddenly a interesting comment section has broken out, so let me check all the comments, okay? Here to learn is the ingredients of life is suffering. Swadanusar. It may not have anything to do with divine. Okay. Kshatriya Fight is saying, historically speaking, Jesus was. Oh, yeah, ye to ho gaya. Efin is saying, yes, that is because they are good people. Even among Nazis, I'm sure there were good people. Yeah. Country can't be all fully bad. Yeah. That is. But what I'm saying is their theology, eschatology, and epistemology. Yeah. I wondered if God would actually care about that. Therefore, consciousness is separate for every person. There is nothing called common consciousness which connects all. Interesting argument. I can't now stop the live stream and think about it, ponder over it. But yes, we will discuss this someday. Everything, okay. Here to learn is saying, why everything happening in the world can be ideally, theoretically be traced back to some fundamental laws of nature, and she is Mahamaya herself. Yeah. Okay. Then Navadurga. Okay, Abhay is saying every random event does not need to have a reason for or bound by any set of rules. You know, that is where I disagree, and I have not read enough of actually science to so to speak to know if that is the case, that nothing is connected. I think there are bound by everything that is happening are bound by set of rules. Madam ke she's a woke commie. Okay, now what is eschatology? Yeah, what the hell is eschatology? Efin, explain to him. Okay, according to the Shakta scriptures. Arey, mera coffee. According to the Shakta scriptures, Veda, in its wide sense, does not only mean Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva as now published, but comprises these together with the generally unknown and unpublished Uttarakanda of the Atharva Veda, called Saubhagya, with the Upanishads attached to this. Shayana's commentary is written on the Purvakanda. These are said... Wait. Here's a huge bracket. Okay, I want to read what's after the bracket. Okay. So, Shayanacharya's commentary is written on the Purvakanda. These are said to be 64 in number, though I have not yet verified the fact. Some of these, such as Advaita Bhava, Kaula, Kalika, Tripura, Tara, Aruna, Upanishads, and Bhavrichopanishad, Bhavanopanishad, I have published as the 11th volume of Tantric texts. Sir John Woodruff has read all that and translated them and published them. Aruna means she who is red. Redness, Lauhityam, is Vimarsha. I may also here refer my reader to the Kaulacharya Satyananda's commentary on the great Isha Upanishad. Included also in Veda, according to the same view, are the Nigamas, Agamas, Yamals, and Tantras. From these, all other Shastras which explain the meaning, Artha of Veda, such as Purana and Smriti, also Itihasa and so forth, are derived. All these Shastras constitute what is called a many-millioned Shatakoti Samhita, which are developed, the one from the other, as it were, an unfolding series. If the Tantric Samgraha called Sarvollasa by the Sarvavidya Siddha Sarvanandanatha, the latter cites authority from Narayani Tantra to show that from Nigama came Agama. Are bapre. Here I pause to note that the Sammohana says that Kerala Sampradaya is Dakshina and follows Veda or Veda Margastha, while Gauda, to which Sarvananda Natha belonged, meaning the Bengali way, is Vama and follows Nigama, okay? Vamacharya. So, Kerala Sampradaya follows Dakshinachara, and the Gauda way, that is what is common in Bengal, is the Vamachara, and they follow the Nigama. Interesting. Hence, apparently, the preeminence is given to Nigama. He then says, from Agama came Yamal, from Yamal came the 4 Vedas. Wow. From Vedas came the Puranas, and from Puranas came the Smriti, and from Smriti came all other Shastras. I think this is pretty controversial to say in the mainstream, right? There are, he says, 5 Nigamas and 64 Agamas. 4 Yamals are mentioned, which are said to give the gross form Sthula Rupa. As some may be surprised to learn that the 4 Vedas came from the Yamals, that is, were Antargata of the Yamals, which literally means what is uniting or comprehensive. I subjoin the Sanskrit verse from Narayani Tantra. Okay, now bear with me, guys. Sorry, I have to read a Sanskrit line here. Brahma Yamala Sambhutam Sama Veda Matam Shive Rudra Yamala Samjata Rigvedo Paramo Mahan Vishnu Yamala Sambhuto Yajurveda Kuleshwari Shakti Yamala Sambhutam Atharva Paramam Mahat. Some tantras are called by opposing sects Veda Viruddhani. Okay. Some tantras are called by opposing sects. Opposing sects call some tantras Veda Viruddhani, which means they are opposed to Vedas, Vedo ke Virudh, which of course those who accept them they deny. Just as the commentary of the Nitya Soda Shikarnava. Nitya Shoda Shikarnava speaks of the Pancharatrin as Veda Bhrashta. That some sects were originally Avaidika is probable, but in process of time, various amalgamations of scriptural authority, belief, and practice took place. Whether we accept or not this theory, according to which the Agamas and kindred Shastras are given authority with the 4 Vedas, we have to accept the facts. What are these? Okay. Again, let me check some comments, because great comments are coming all of a sudden today. I mean, every day great comments come, but today we have a juicy debate going on here. I'm not living without a horror story. Yes, my horror story is from my Christian school, so it will be fun, of course. I don't think it's that fun today. It used to be fun when I was much younger. Okay, if is saying conscious separate is not Advait Vedanta, it is Vishishta Vedanta. You yourself talking about a sub-school of Vedanta. Of course, everything is connected, but do we take commie opinion of any country seriously? But do we take the cause itself could be random set of events which created that particular effect? Yes. But the causes themselves are also, it would seem to be part of a pattern. Eschatology is basically how it all ends. The theology that answers this question is called eschatology, both in the physical world and the next. मैं ये कह सकता हूँ कि सब connected है. I can say that everything is connected. This is practical as I understood from my experience. Fair enough. What do you think of the embarrassing stories we have, like Drona being born of masturbation, Wood born of extramarital, hence Chandravansh, Vyasa born in non-marital? I don't care about the specific stories, even if they're controversial or seemingly stupid in today's context, because I'm interested in the meaning and wisdom behind it, because who knows what story people conjure up to give a particular message or wisdom. Okay, is the story better than the message, or is the message better than the story? Okay, there lies the main debate. Like even today you see so many great commie movies which you can actually sit and watch. They are well made, but if you are actually politically aware, you might think yeah, it's an annoying movie. But again, there are so many commie artists who focus so much on the message that they end up making a bad movie. Nina is saying why all horror stories in India have something to do with the British. Causes also have causes. Causes also have causes. The cause of all causes is Parabrahma. Yes. Okay. So, whether we accept or not this theory, according to which the Agamas and kindred Shastras are given authority with the 4 Vedas, we have to accept the facts. What are these facts? As I have said, on examination, the one body of Hinduism reveals, as it were, a double framework. I am now looking at the matter from an outside point of view, which is not that of the Shakta worshipper. We find on the one hand that the 4 Vedas with their Samhitas, Brahmanas and Upanishads, and on the other hand what has been called the 5th Veda, that is Nigama, Agama and kindred Shastras, and certain especially Tantric Upanishads attached to the Saubhagya Kanda of the Atharva Veda. There are Vedic and Tantric Kalpa Sutras and Shuktas, such as the Tantrika Devi and Matsya Shuktas. As a counterpart of the Brahma Sutras, we have the Shakti Sutras of Agastya. Then there is both Vedic and Tantric ritual, such as the 10 Vedic Samskaras and the Tantric Samskaras, such as Abhisheka, Vedic and Tantric initiation, which is Upanayana and Diksha, Vedic and Tantric Gayatri, the Vedic Om, the so-called Tantric Bija, such as Ring, Vedika Guru and Deshika Guru, and so forth. This dualism may be found carried into other matters as well, such as medicine, law, writing. So whilst the Vedic Ayurveda employed generally vegetable drugs, the Tantrics used metallic substances. A counterpart of the Vedika Dharampatni was the Shaiva wife, that is, she who is given by desire, Kama. I have already pointed on the counterparts of the Panchatattva in the Vedas. Some allege a special form of tantric script at any rate in Gauda Desha and so forth. Gauda Desha is Bengal, okay? Some allege a special form of tantric script at any rate in Gauda Desha and so forth. What is the meaning of all this? It is not at present possible to give a certain answer. The subject has been so neglected and is so little known. Before tendering any conclusions with any certainty of their correctness, we must examine the tantric texts which time has spared. It will be readily perceived, however, that if there be such a double frame as I suggest, it indicates that there were originally two sources of religion, one of which incorporated parts of and in time largely superseded the other. Possibly in some respects the older one superseded or took parts from the younger one, incorporated parts of the younger one and superseded the other. And this is what the quote-unquote tantrics impliedly allege in their views as to the relation of the four Vedas and Agamas. If they are not both of authority, why should such reverence be given to the Deshika Gurus and to the Tantric Diksha? Probably there were many Avaidika cults not without a deep and ancient wisdom of their own. That is, cults outside the Vedic religion, Veda Bahir, which in the course of time adopted certain Vedic rites such as Homa, which is why again India is a sacred geography and Hinduism is the most accommodating religion, etc. It's a uniting factor of the entire country because of these very facts. So probably there were many Avaidika cults not without a deep and ancient wisdom of their own. That is cults outside the Vedic religion or Veda Bahya, which in the course of time adopted certain Vedic rites such as Homa, the Vedikas in their own turn taking up some of the Avaidika practices. Now I know that Ramakrishna Mission apologists would argue that that is what we are doing by doing Jishu Puja as well. But I would argue that no, factually they may be the same things, but the reasons behind these two actions are different. They are doing it because of weakness and fear. It may be that some Brahmanas joined the so-called Anarya Sampradayas, just as we find today Brahmanas officiating for low castes and being called by their name. At length, the Shastras of the two cults were given at least equal authority. The Vedic practice then largely disappeared, surviving chiefly both in the Smarta rites of today and as embedded in the ritual of the Agamas. These are speculations to which I do not definitely commit myself. They are merely suggestions which may be worth consideration when search is made for the origin of the Agamas. Kitna research baki hai bhai? If they be correct, then in this, as in other cases, the beliefs and practices of the soil have been upheld until today against the incoming cults of those so-called Aryas who followed the Vedic rites and who in their turn influenced the various religious communities without the Vedic fold. The Smartas of today represent what is generally called the Shrauta side, though in these rites there are mingled many Puranic ingredients. The Arya Samaja is another present-day representative of the old Vedika Achara, mingled as it seems to me with a modernism which is Puritan and otherwise. The other or Tantric side is represented by the general body of present-day Hinduism and in particular by the various sectarian divisions of Shaivas, Shaktas, Vaishnavas and so forth which go to its making. Each sect of worshippers has its own tantras. In a previous chapter, I have shortly referred to the tantras of the Shaiva Siddhanta, of the Pancharatra Agama, and of the Northern Shaivism, of which the Malini Vijaya Tantra sets the type. The old fivefold division of worshippers was, according to the Panchopasana, Saura, Ganapatya, Vaishnava, Shaiva and Shakta, whose Mula Devtas were Surya, Ganapati, Vishnu, Shiva and Shakti respectively. At the present time, the threefold division, Vaishnava, Shaiva, Shakta, is of more practical importance, as the other two survive only to a limited extent today. In parts of Western India, the worship of Ganesha is still popular, and I believe some Sauras or traces of Sauras here and there exist, especially in Sindh. Are bapre. Hey, do you all know of any Sauras? This is a different sampradaya I had no idea before today. So, specifically sun worshippers, I think I have heard of these people. Where have I heard of these people? So of course the Martand Sun Temple is by Sauras, and so the Karkota Empire, Lalita Aditya Muktapida was a Saura or Shaura What? How would? Yeah, Surya. So Saura. Yeah. So was he a Saura then? Interesting. Oh, let me check some comments again. Okay, great questions are going on. Okay, let me check some more then. Yeah, Afin is saying here the thing, they are written in poem and not prose, so they have poetic language and thus never directly mean what they say. I like Malayalam movies, but they are mostly communist. Yes, and what great production, man. I can't stand those movies more than 5 minutes because of their comic propaganda, but man, production wise, what fabulous movies, no? Something which I can say that Brahman came from Brahma, mouth, Kshatriya from Bhuja, okay. No, now, and Western atheist will ask, what is the cause of Parabrahman? Can you answer this? Yeah, I will when I have deeply thought of that. Not at the top of my head. I'm not that good at these things at the moment. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adi Govindo Sarva Karon Karanam Sarva Karanam. Okay, he has given the answer. Shankaracharya said all is Maya at that time. We didn't believe him, but today we know that everything is just energy. I have another provocative question. Why is moksha even required? How will it benefit us? What do we really achieve by achieving moksha? Moksha is not really a necessity. Moksha is prescriptive always. That it's a great thing. You will be one with God. But many people don't even do everything for moksha, right? Because see, moksha पाने के लिए वो procedure wise तो संन्यास भी लेना होगा, वानप्रस्थ में भी जाना होगा. वो तो सब कास्ट वो सब वर्ण के लिए भी नहीं है. So I don't think moksha is there is any consensus that yes, we are all trying to go to moksha or attain moksha. But why? Yes, being one with God would be a great thing. Objectively. Oh, by the way, RKM kintu officially non-Hindu registered organization. They even wanted to be called a minority religion status. Yes, Supreme Court threw that dabi out for their followers, but Supreme Court turned it down. Yes, they did this because CPM was in power, was preventing them from running their school, food center and hospitals. Heck, I forgot his name. A member of Communist West Bengal Politburo said he wanted to bomb Dakshineshwar. वो भी क्या दिन थे भाई. अभी तो did you all see Sitaram Yechuri rejected going to Ram Temple, Ram Mandir, and Mamata Banerjee is also not going to Ram Mandir in the opening. But CPIM yesterday shared that picture of Mao and wished him on his birthday, etc. The guy who killed 20 million people or 40 million. They have no shame. अभी भी 2023 में भी चला रहा है ये सब. Being shameless is something that is a great thing to learn from them. They did this because CPM was and even what's that sect Anukul Thakur jara ye bhakto, even Anukul Thakur's sect recently asked for minority status. Even they were their claim was thrown out of the courts. Random to whom we may not find any significance or causes, but nothing is unborn. Our methods may not be capable to see the causes, but significance is a human thing. It's not necessary for nature to find significance to cause an event, and it's futile to try understanding causes of events insignificant to us. Oh, that's well said. That's the second sentence. Preventing them, Konark Sun Temple. Okay, so Konark Sun Temple, aren't they Vaishnav? Are they Saurya? Moksha required cause everything is excess harm people. Sauras are gone now. Yeah, seems so. Especially if they are in Sindh, because this book was written about 30 years before partition and independence. No, so he's saying Sindh में तो काफी Saura है. Okay, if anything, but Shauro Sampradaya is extremely diminished as most of them were based in modern day Afghanistan. Yeah, that's what he is even saying. Northern Pakistan and Kashmir with Martan right, and Multan being centers. Thoughts on Sarna religion demand? What's that? Why Pada Brahman Ota is already answered. Hint the word Pada, and the thing about moksha is it the ultimate, not even heaven, and hell is ultimately true. All Saura temples, Martand, Konark, Modhera and Multan are gone now. But Konark isn't gone. Konark is here. Are you saying that the old Konark Saura temple is gone and this is just the Vaishnava Jagannatha Konark temple? Bhutar Bhavishat was a good movie but communist to core, whereas Bhavishatar Bhut is not even a film, has no story, has just communism. I have not actually watched Bhavishatar Bhut, I have watched Bhutar Bhavishat. And I think Bhutar Bhavishat is the best comedy of Bengali film history. Either no puja happening in these temples or they are complete ruins. Yeah, but Konark is not like that, right? Then there is no higher purpose to existence. Higher purpose to existence is all those duties, वो जो लाइन के लाइन मनुस्मृति में है कि your duty to wife, your duty to your husband, to your society, to your kids, etc. That's the reason you are alive, and you are doing those things so that you can stay alive in a great way, in a responsible way. After that, your next duty, so that you can at the end attain or head towards moksha if you want. Because if you don't have these duties in your mind or in your society, then we get to nihilism, wokeism, nitsa, those things. काम क्रोध लोभ मोह सभी चीज़ जरूरी है और ये सब बहुत बढ़ जाएगा तो विनाश भी होगा. Plot to divide Hindus. Okay. राम मंदिर में तो राम भक्त हनुमान होंगे तो भूत पिशाच का. Yeah, see, it makes sense that the bhoot pichach are not going. दादा पर becoming one with God क्यों होना है, यही question है. Because God is a great significant entity. Therefore, why it would be obvious that what's that term, that self-evident, self-evident, or these sentences are evidently true, something like that, which are implicitly evident that God is a significant thing, and therefore it would be a great thing to be one with him. Shatrified is saying গীতা পড়ছি দাদা একটু একটু করে নিহিলিস্টিক হয়ে কেন যাচ্ছি. কার্ড ট্রান্সলেশনের গীতা পড়ছো তার উপর হবে এটা. যদি গীতা রহস্য পড়ো বালগঙ্গাধর তিলকের তাহলে 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 নিহিলিস্টিক হবে না. আর গীতা তো আফটার মহাভারতের পার্ট না, সেই কনটেক্সটে পড়তে হবে. শুরু মহাভারতটাকে ছেড়ে শুধু গীতা পড়লে হবে না. कोई ऐसा हायर पर्पस नहीं है, यदि ह्यूमन नहीं रहेगा तब भी पृथ्वी चलेगा. यस. कैन सन वर्शिपिंग ट्राइबल्स बी कंसिडर सौर्यस? In one way, but then anyone who worships the sun anywhere, all the pagan cultures, etc., all of them can't be called Shaurya in the technical sense, only technical sense, because Shaurya Siddhanta would be some very specific step by step. For that, it's kind of a political way to say it, that no, they are not Shaurya, this is Shaurya. But other than that, I would say the gods are watching regardless. Konark was Saura, I see. It is closed temple. Are, I didn't even know that. I thought Konark is a living, breathing temple. What the fuck? British filled it with sand to avoid temple structure collapse. What? I didn't know this. Okay, why you think that human is important? Okay, Konark is closed. No puja happens there. Oh. British filled it with sand. Okay, I had no idea. Dharma, artha, kam are the purpose of life if you don't want moksha. Yeah. It would then it would then be better for humans to have not existed at all. Yeah, in one way. भगवान को इसलिए बनाया गया ताकि आप लोग अवसाद में ना जाओ. Okay, fair enough. If God exists and he makes you think that way, fair enough. Thoughts on Odisha politics? No idea. Odisha politics, yeah. I have just one or two ideas that yes, they seem to be seemingly not a fucking asshole of a political party that's running Odisha. They are pretty good on, and they are kind of focused on actual development of the state. There are good, honest, visionary people in the party. And as for their policies, they seem to be left of center, just like BJP, since they are so much in favor of the reservations and stuff, women's reservation, etc. So it's basically BJP B. I don't know how they are not a direct collaborator of BJP. I don't know what are they waiting for. Okay. Best Dr. Zakir Naik line, Gita में कृष्णा ने अर्जुन को जिहाद का teaching दिया. वाह 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 वाह. Yes, the first part where Arjuna is talking will make you just like that, complete reading it. Konark is just a museum, not a real mandir. Fuck, I have no idea. Then purpose of existence of brahmacharis. That is so being able to learn gyan, okay, Vedic gyan or all our scriptural gyan properly with those austerities in mind. Because if you read a particular text while you are eating, okay, and if you have a very unhealthy lifestyle, etc., you are indisciplined, again you will that thing won't make sense to you as much as it will if you read it in a disciplined way. So brahmacharya is all about discipline. Okay. Dada, you confused the Puri Jagannath temple with Konark, I think. No, I didn't confuse it, but I thought that since Jagannath temple is living and breathing, so Konark is just nearby. It will also be living and breathing. I have been to Puri only once, and that too on my bike. And stupidly, I did not go up till the Konark temple. There is a beautiful road from Puri city to Konark temple, and our riding group planned it that way. One fine morning, randomly, we reached Puri the previous night, and on the morning, suddenly our group leader and a few of the seniors in the team decided, "के चलो अभी Konark temple चलते हैं." So I didn't even know that what is Konark or where is Konark, how far is Konark. So I randomly went. I didn't even take my phone. Couldn't take any great photos. Then on the way, I see this is like Pacific Highway of the Road Rash video game. On the left side, deep dense forest. सामने MotoGP का highway. And on the right, the sea, Bay of Bengal. What road is this? So my brain is completely stoned at that point, and I'm riding at 130 kilometers per hour on my R15 version 2. I am absolutely like on in heaven at that moment. And then we take a break in front of the sea. Some people go around, do a bit of boating. I'm just too flummoxed to do anything else, and I didn't even take my wallet, so I couldn't actually go for the boating. And I could have asked for money from someone, but I didn't just think to do it. And then the Chandrabhaga beach comes up, as far as I remember, and I really like beaches, so I just went to the beach and stayed there, hung out on the beach with just 4 or 5 other guys who had been to Konark before, and therefore they did not go, and everyone else went to Konark temple. I did not go because I was enjoying the beach. So that's why I didn't know that Konark is actually a closed down temple. What the hell? अभय सिंह, हाँ तो तब लोगों ने ही बनाया है भगवान को. Yeah, perhaps, or God made you think that way. And this is a never-ending debate. Which came first, chicken or egg? NPB told about an ancient devotee poem. Who is NPB? Where Shiva devotee got moksha, but he is said he's sad because without Shiva being different from him now, how can he find joy in worshipping Shiva? Because he became Shiva and the need to worship has ended. Are bapre. Not just humans. Nothing has a purpose of existence. That is actually that is the truest thing you have. That is the thing I can agree with most so far, because then nothing has a purpose to it if you look at it that objectively. Everything just is happening. It won't happen. तभी universe का क्या जाएगा? Konark had floating Surya statue based on magnetism. Invaders took away magnet and the structure tends to collapse. Are बाप रे. 4 Purusharthas are the meaning of life. Okay. Where did other comments go? Oh yeah, many more comments. Okay, let me check some comments. Pakistan has made cafe on Sharda temple. Okay, but the temple exists, right? I guess the cafe is nearby the temple because the Sharda Peeth corridor is being made. मैं भगवान को मानता हूँ क्योंकि मैं अपने लाइफ में कुछ ऐसा एहसास किया है. Oh yeah, fair enough. दादा हॉरर स्टोरीটা শুরু করো. दादा. Even if it's random, why are you sad? We don't need a glorious teleology like Christianity. I really like beaches. Konark mein temple was destroyed, only the front part is remaining. Yeah, okay. Admits he likes, I like beaches. You might have heard of Portuguese having stolen the magnet on top of the Konark. That is said to be the reason the temple collapsed. Other than that, a lot of Mughal raids. Oh, I did not know these things. Oh, Nishingam Prasad Bhaduri. Acha. Okay, let me get back to Shakti and Shakta. After that, maybe I'll get into the horror story. 6 Amnayas are mentioned in the Tantras. Sadamnaya, these are the 6 faces of Shiva. Looking east, Purvamnaya, south, Dakshinamnaya, west, Paschimamnaya, north, Uttaramnaya, upper, Urdhvamnaya, lower and concealed, Advamnaya. The 6 Amnayas are thus so called according to the order of their origin. They are thus described in the Devyagama, cited in the Tantra Rahasya. see also with some variation, probably due to corrupt text, Patala 2 of Samayachara Tantra and Tantra Rahasya. The quote is 1. The face in the east, that is in front, is of pearl-like luster with 3 eyes and crowned by the crescent moon. By this face, I, Shiva, revealed the Devis Sri Bhuvaneshwari, Triputa, Lalita, Padma, Shulini, Saraswati, Tvarita, Nitya, Vajraprastarini, Annapurna, Mahalakshmi, Lakshmi, Vagvadini, with all their rites and mantras. 2. The southern face is of a yellow color with 3 eyes. By this face I revealed Prasada Sadashiva, Mahaprasada Mantra, Dakshinamurti, Vatuka, Manjughosha, Bhairava, Mrita Sanjivani Vidya. Okay. Mrita Sanjivani Vidya, Mrityunjaya with their rites and mantras. The face in the west, that is at the back, is of the color of a freshly formed cloud. By this face I revealed Gopala, Krishna, Narayana, Vasudeva, Narsimha, Vamana, Varaha, Ramachandra, Vishnu, Harihara, Ganesha, Agni, Yama, Surya, Vidhu or Chandra, and other planets, Garuda, Dikpalas, Hanumana, and other suras, their rites and mantras. 4. The face in the north is blue in color and with 3 eyes. By this face I revealed the Devis, Dakshina Kalika, Mahakali, Guhya Kali, Smashana Kalika, Bhadrakali, Ekajata, Ugratara, Taritni, Katyayani, Chinnamasta, Neela Saraswati, Durga, Jaya Durga, Navadurga, Vasuli, Dhumavati, Vishalakshi, Gauri, Bagalamukhi, Pratyangira, Matamgi, Mahishamardini, their rites and mantras. 5. The upper face in white. By this face I revealed Srimat Tripura Sundari, Tripureshi, Bhairavi, Tripura Bhairavi, Smashana Bhairavi, Bhuvaneshi Bhairavi, Satkuta Bhairavi, Annapurna Bhairavi, Panchami, Shodashi, meaning 16, Shodashi, Malini, Vala, with their rites and mantras. 6. The sixth face below is lustrous of many colors and concealed. It is by this mouth that I spoke of Devatasthana, Asana, Yantra, Mala, Naivedya, Balidana, Sadhana, Purushcharana, Mantra Siddhi. It is called Ishanamnaya. The Samayachara Tantra says that whilst the first 4 amnayas are for the Chaturvarga or Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, Chaturvarga, the upper Urdhvamnaya and lower Adhamnaya are for liberation only. The Sammohana Tantra first explains Purvamnaya, Dakshinamnaya, Paschimamnaya, Uttaramnaya, Urdhvamnaya, according to what is called Desha Pariyaya. I am informed that no puja of Adhyamnaya is generally done, but that Sadhanvaya Sambhavas, very high sadhakas at the door of liberation, do nyasa with this sixth concealed face, which is Sadhanvaya Sambhavas. They do it. They are very high sadhakas. It is said that Patala Amnaya is Sambhoga Yoga. The Nishkala aspect in Shakti Krama is for Purva, Tripura is for Dakshina. The Nishkala aspect in Shakti Krama is for Purva, Tripura for Dakshina, Saura, Ganapatya and Vaishnava. For Paschima, Rodra, Bhairava. For Uttara, Ugra, Apattarini. Is Apottarini the same as the famous goddess in Bengal called Bipottarini? In Shaiva Karma, for the same aspect is for the first Sampatprada and Mahesha. For the second, Aghora, Kalika, Vaishnava Darshana. For the third, Raudra, Bhairava and Shaiva. For the fourth, Kubera, Bhairava, Saudrasaka. And for Urdhvam Naya, Ardhanarisa and Ardhanarisya and Pranava. Niruttara Tantra says that the first two Amnayas contain rites for the Pashu Sadhaka. See as to the meaning of this and the other classes of sadhakas, the chapter on Panchatattva ritual. Purvam Nayoditam Karma Pasavam Kathitam Priye. The third or Paschimam Naya is a combination of Pashu and Veera. Paschima Nayajam Karma Pashu Veera Samasritam. Uttaram Naya is for Veera and Divya. Uttaram Nayajam Karma Divya Veerasritam Priye. The upper Amnaya is for the Divya. Urdhvam Nayaditam Karma Divya Bhavasritam Priye. It adds that even the Divya does sadhana in the cremation ground in Veera Bhava, that is, heroic frame of mind and disposition, but he does such worship without Virasana. The Sammohana also gives the Sammohana Tantra also gives the classification of the Tantras according to the Amnayas, as also special classifications such as the Tantras of the 6 Amnayas according to Vatukamnaya. As only one text of the Sammohana is available whilst I write, it is not possible to speak with certainty of accuracy as regards all these details. Each of these divisions of worshippers have their own Tantras, as also had the Jainas and Bauddhas. Different sects had their own particular subdivisions and Tantras, of which there are various classifications according to Krantas, Desha Paryaya, Kala Paryaya and so forth. So, Kranta, Desh Parjay এবং Kal Parjay. The Sammohana Tantra mentions 22 different agamas, including Chinagama, a Shakta form. Chinagama, I guess, from the Tibet, China regions. The Sammohana Tantra mentions 22 different agamas, including Chinagama, a Shakta form, Pashupata, a Shaiva form, Pancharatra, a Vaishnava form, Kapalika, Bhairava, Aghora, Jaina, Buddha, each of which is said there to contain a certain number of tantras and upatantras. According to the Sammohana Tantra, the tantras according to Kala Paryaya are the 64 Shakta tantras with 327 upatantras, 8 yamalas, 4 damaras, 2 kalpalatas and several samhitas, churamanis 100, arnavas, puranas, upavedas, kakshaputas, vimarshini and chintamanis. The Shaiva class contains 32 tantras with its own yamals, damars and so forth. The Vaishnava class contains 75 tantras with the same, including kalpas and other shastras. The Sauda class has tantras with its own yamals, uddishas and other works. And the Ganapatya class contains 30 tantras with upatantras, kalpas and other shastras, including 1 damar and 1 yamal. The Bauddha class contains kalpadrumas, kamadhenus, shuktas, kramas, ambaras, ambara, and puranas and other shastras. So yeah, krama, I was calling it krama. Wait, I have to check one thing. Yeah, kranta. Kramas, ambaras, puranas and other shastras. According to the Kularnava and Jnanadvipa tantras, there are 7 acharas, of which the first 4, Veda, Vedachara, Vaishnavachara, Shaivachara and Dakshinachara, belong to Pashvachara. Then comes Vamachara, followed by Siddhanta, in which gradual approach is made to Kaulachara, the reputed highest. Elsewhere, 6 and 9 acharas are spoken of, and different kinds of bhavas, sabhava, vibhava and deha bhava and so forth, which are referred to in Bhava Chudamani. An account of the acharas is given in the Haratatva Didhiti. See in particular Vishwasara Tantra and Nitya Tantra and uh, uh, Pranatoshini. The first is the best account, the Vishwachara Tantra. Vedachara is the lowest and Kalachara is the highest. This is said in Kularnava Tantra. Their characteristics are given in the 24th Patala of Vishwasara Tantra. The first four belong to the Pashvachara. See chapter on Shakta Sadhana. And the last three are for Vira and Divya Sadhakas. The Shakta Sadhana chapter will come later on. Summarizing the points of the Vishwachara. Okay, now the summary. Okay, before that, let me check some comments again. Heavy stuff. Okay, lots of comments. Let me check. Chinagama is not from Chin. Oh, to kahan se hai? I had heard. I was actually thinking while saying that it's from Chin that it might not be from China, because even Mahachin is not really the China area. So where do you think is it from, or where is Mahachin? Okay, lots of comments. Wait, all good comments. Let me check. Okay. Yeah. I think that the need of God more important than existence. Yes, like Voltaire, I guess, had said that even if there was no God, there would be a need to invent him. That's great. I'm not denying anyone's experience. I'm just contemplating. Yeah. I'm not sad. I'm just thinking. Man-made God sounds like man-made relativity. Einstein didn't create relativity, but nature, God created the law and Einstein perceived it. Yeah, well said. Similarly, gods or their tattvas existed always. Humans perceive them. Yeah. Except that we can't prove it that way. Unless proving also has different ways to look at it, because our praman shastras are also different. Chakshusha praman, pratyaksha chakshusha praman, manas pratyaksha praman. What's inference? Inference is manas pratyaksha. No, anumana praman. Yeah, but of course anumana pramana was not taken seriously later on, I think, and other people debunked it. Actually, today we are not able to answer the question, but questions were the base of, yeah. Arjun Vishad Yog, the first chapter of Gita, is meant to be depressing. That's why it's called Vishad. I am asking these questions in paramarthika sense, not in vyavaharika sense. Yeah. I have thought so much about existence and still doing it. I'm writing my realizations in a diary which may later become a book. Yes, good. I got into a Twitter argument with a Bangladesh Bokko. He was saying ISKCON is anti-Bengali because they targeted RKM. Are? I reminded him ISKCON by that logic is also Bengali. Puro team. ISKCON is anti-Bengali. Are? Who is not anti-Bengali then? All of these discussions are for humans to understand what are they supposed to do. Existence doesn't need humans, but humans need sense of purpose to function. That is very true. At Vyavaharika level, it is clear that we all need to fight for dharma and all flourishment. Yeah. Only Yogavyas can answer things as that was felt. At Paramarthika, just realize that everything is Maya and you are pure consciousness, maybe. At least vibration. Today, as we know, is just a theory and it's not practical basis, but when you do yoga practice, you will understand. Pratyangira was worshipped by Meghnad in Nikimbhila Yagya. She is identified with Narasimhi of Ashtamatrika in Chandipat. Wow. Without yoga, you cannot understand things. You cannot know that gulab khushbu kaisa hai. Jab tak gulab ka khushbu nahi jaan jate. Yeah, that is a well-made point, you know. You have to know what actually rose smells like to actually recognize the smell of rose. But it's kind of polemical, because what would the moment look like, okay? The moment would be one, okay? You knowing what a rose smells like would be the same as the moment when you actually try to check if you in fact know the smell of the rose or not. This is getting deeper than I expected. Okay, then we need to find someone who is really a Siddh Purush in this. Yes, of course. And they will say that, yeah, all this is how it is. Nahi, aap khud basic. Okay. Chinagama. Nasadiya Shukta ideates how creation happened, but says this might have happened, it might have looked like that, but who knows? I can't tell. Even Brahma doesn't know. Fascinating. Yes. Don't associate with Buddhas or Jains. They are now wanting to capture Hindu temples. Yeah. What can I do? It is what it was back then. कोई उपाय या reference बता सकते हो? Okay. Jains are capturing Girnar and Tirupati temples. Maisab yoga, okay, yoga debate. Okay, Chinagama is short for Chintyagama, if I'm not wrong. Oh, acha. Nothing wrong in supporting regional king against Deccani was best option for Karnataka Hindus. In which context? माइंड को कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश मत करो क्योंकि उसको कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते हैं इस लेवल पर. हॉरर स्टोरी. Okay. Rajputra Arya, who is he replying to? Oh yeah, Vikram Sampath said Sringeri Shankaracharya did Sahasra Chandi Puja or something for Tipu Sultan to win over Maratha. Okay, so yeah, horror story. Horror story is that when I studied in that convent school, all of a sudden, some students started getting sort of an epilepsy fit. Okay, we called it hysteria back then. I don't think it's actually called hysteria, or yeah, maybe. So it was kind of a mass hysteria. Everyone was being diagnosed with it, and of course, all the Bengali teachers were all leftists and atheists. They were taking classes, and randomly people you would fall off their chairs, shaking and vibrating, etc. So the Bengali teachers would say this is all an excuse to get out of class, to get admitted in this local in the school campus hospital, and their boyfriends, girlfriends would come and hug them, etc., and cry with them, because it was a kind of a pretty westernized and liberal school. As I've said before as well, that my school was truly liberal and secular. Because the founder of the school was a fan in a way of Ramakrishna Paramahansa. He was inspired to found the school because, in fact, he read Ramakrishna Paramahansa. He tried to make a religion that would accommodate all religions, etc. And he was repeatedly being sent funds to convert people, but he was instead making a school for the left behind children from illicit relationships, sexual relationships of British civil officers. So and he was great friends with Rabindranath Tagore. So what was I saying? So yeah, anyway, so therefore my school is kind of liberal. So everyone is getting a mass hysteria of sorts, and then people start saying that they have witnessed someone, an unidentified mysterious figure. Everyone is seeing him from distance, okay, from their cottages and their residential buildings, from here and there, from the slopes of the hills. Everyone is seeing from their windows that yeah, there is someone coming, and with a bit of a limp. Now then, within a matter of 2-3 days, parallelly a few things happened. First is one day I was hanging out with at a friend's place, and there from the windows I also saw someone fitting that exact description, and a guy walking with a big limp whom nobody knows, because it's a small school campus. Those hills are a sort of a small town. Everyone knows everyone. So we have no idea who the fuck that guy is, and that guy is limping away, and he's coming towards this building. And we all, because I was in class 3 or 4 back then, so we all shit our pants almost, and we close the window and go to another room. And then another day, our school was, let's say, on this level, and just a little bit higher, a few steps above, was the school church. So there, during our tiffin break, lunch break, near the church, we see again a mysterious figure, now in sort of an orange burqa. Okay, there were no Muslims there, and it was not really a burqa, but it seemed like someone was covered up in some sort of an orange cloth. So again, the fear is going on increasing. Everyone is seeing this mysterious limping man. Now there's this woman sort of entity in an orange costume. People are getting diagnosed with hysteria, epileptic fit. It's not really epilepsy. They were not like foaming at the mouth or something, but everyone is starting to shake all of a sudden and falling down. So no one's bringing in exorcism or something, okay, but some students were saying that, these things can be solved by exorcism, but no one in the school authority is thinking about that. They know this is some bullshit that the students are pulling, but who knows what it was. But then the fun part happened. A big inter-school festival was going on, and we had a big school hall, and beneath that hall Actually, there was a big giant room beneath the hall, and we did not know that. Not at least not the people, not the kids in my class. So that room existed beneath the hall, so that some special effects sometimes could be done on the stage from beneath when some plays were going on. Now the doorway to that, of course, was always locked, and one day we found it open, and I decided, chalo jate hain andar, because I was the atheist Bengali commie, and everyone else was absolutely shitting their pants that, oh my god, now this is the moment we were all dreading, that okay, now we are going to see the ghost, and this dumb fuck is planning to go inside. So I decided to go in, and I went there. Of course, I was a bit scared myself, and I went and saw that someone just forgot to lock the door. A bulb was on, but just to scare people off, I shouted a bit, and everyone ran away. They thought, okay, now I have met the ghost, and I have met my end. But these three were the unexplained ghostish sort of things that we till this date we don't know what was going on. Why were so many students all of a sudden getting those fits and shaking, falling off their chairs, and being taken to the hospital? And who was that unidentified limping man whom no one ever found out? And who was that orange cloth clad woman roaming around near the church? Okay, let me check some comments, and then again we will go to the important part, which is the summarizing the points of the Vishwasara. Okay, now there are too many comments. I can't afford to read all of them. Sorry. Here to know about the arcane rot, you have to know also that what Sringeri did in the past. They prepared Raj Tilak for Tipu. They allowed Christian missionaries to run rampage, and the effects we are seeing now. Maratha army have raided Bengal, but never heard they destroyed temples. They did not destroy temples, but they stole idols, and that was a common thing. Whoever won, it was a competitive Hindutva back then. No, competitive Hinduism. के अरे तुम्हारा क्या क्या भोसरी का किंगडम है, क्या क्या गरीब लोग तुम लोग हो, I will take away your god, your idol, and I will make a better one at my hometown. That was what was up. One asked Sadhguru, do you know God? He replied, which God? It's so important. How do we define God? Proof or no proof depends on how we define God. Anyone or anything of worship is God for me. They did not destroy a temple. They took or stole the... yeah. This is what we just discussed. Every Hindu king would do it, yes. दादा वो कोई भूत भूत नहीं था, unknown gunman था. Andrews নাকি কোন স্কুল? মিশনারি রবীন্দ্রনাথের ফ্রেন্ড তো অ্যান্ড্রুজই মনে পড়ছে. No, Sir John Anderson Graham. Bengal's temples were already 90% gone in Islamic rule, yes. Are ra ra ra, mera Yesu moment of their lives, perhaps. Okay. Convent schools all have horror stories. Other schools are normal somehow. Jesus के आसपास ही सारे Satan के दीवाने आते हैं. Many Bengali Hindus have written about Maratha invasion where they did destroy temples. Okay, I have never heard of them. If Bengali commies say that Marathas did destroy temples, then it's best not to believe them. But there would be no reason to destroy temples. Of course. Now, see, the problem with a soldier class is that after all it will attract people who are prone to aggression and murder, etc. Okay, so it's not like Shivaji was telling them specifically that if you go there, remember to destroy a few temples also. Okay, now chalo ab jao jaake torpor karo. What if at all some dumb fuck did destroy temples, it would have been like, okay, we are in a fit of aggression, chalo samne jo koi bhi aaye kuch torpor do, aag laga do, to chalo ab mandir mila hai samne, ye bhi tod dalo. Some dumb fuck might have done that. It would seem plausible. Bhoot abar bhagwa pore keno. Okay, let's get back to this now. Last three are for... Okay, now summarizing the points of the Vishwasara. A sadhaka in Vedachara should carry out the prescriptions of the Veda, should not cohabit with his wife except in the period following the courses. He should not eat fish and meat on the Parva days. He should not worship the Deva at night. In Vaishnavachara, He follows injunctions, the niyama of Vedachara. He must give up eating of flesh. Nitya Tantra says he must not kill animals, avoid sexual intercourse, and even the talk of it. अरे ये कैसे होगा? This without a doubt means a negation of the Veera ritual, okay? Veerachara. He should worship Vishnu. This achara is distinguished from the last by the great endurance of tapas and the contemplation of the Supreme everywhere. In Shaivachara, Vedachara is prescribed with this difference that there must be no slaughter of animals and meditation is on Shiva instead of Vishnu. Dakshinachara is said to have been practiced by Rishi Dakshinamurti and is therefore so called. Therefore, it's called Dakshinachara. Oh, okay. So Dakshinachara का नाम ही आया है because it was practiced by Rishi Dakshinamurti. This achara is preparatory for the Veera and Divya Bhavas. Okay. So as we had learned in the book, in his Arthur Avalon's other book, that Introduction to Tantra Shastra, that people with Divya Bhava, for them actually that meat Pashubali, goat Pashubali is not necessary. For them, Mamsa, Matsya, Madhya has 3 completely different meanings, okay? Killing the animal specifically, or specifically fish, specifically wine, those are for people or worshippers with the Veera Bhava. Meditation is on the supreme. Now you can't just randomly claim that नहीं मैं तो अब वीर भाव का हूँ तो मुझे मानना है. That will be of course done with the guidance of a guru. Guru will say तुम्हारा दिव्य भाव है या वीर भाव है. Meditation is on the supreme Ishwari in this achara, in Dakshinachara, is on the supreme Ishwari after taking Vijaya or hemp. Okay, hemp is gaja. Vijaya, क्या सुंदर नाम है. Japa of mantra is done at night. Siddhi is attained by using a rosary of human bone, Mahashankha. Human bone का नाम है Mahashankha. Rosary of human bone at certain places, including a Shakti Pitha. Okay. Vamachara is approved for Veeras and Divyas. One should be continent. One should be continent at day and worship with the Panchatattva at night. Meaning one should be brahmachari at day and worship with the panchatattva at night. Okay, so the citation is given here. Okay, panchatattva kramenaiva ratrau devim prapujayet. The statement of Nitya, which is panchatattvanukalpena ratrau deving prapujayet, is, if correctly reported, I think incorrect. This is Veera sadhana, and the Veera should generally only use substitutes when the real tattvas cannot be found. Chakra worship is done, Siddhi is destroyed by revelation thereof. Therefore, the Vama path is hidden. Oh, okay. So, Chakra worship is done, Siddhi is destroyed by revelation thereof. Therefore, the Vama path is hidden. The Siddhantachari is superior to the last by his knowledge, quote unquote, hidden in the Vedas, Shastras and Puranas, like fire is hidden in wood, by his freedom from fear of the Pashu, by his adherence to the truth, and by his open performance of the Panchatattva ritual. Open and frank, he cares not what is said. He offers the Panchatattvas openly. Then follows a notable passage. Just as it is not blamable to drink openly in the Sautramani Yagya, which is a Vedic rite, so in Siddhantachara, wine is drunk openly. As it is not blamable to kill horses in the Ashwamedha Yagya, which is a Vedic rite, so no offense is committed in killing animals in this dharma. Nitya Tantra says that an article, be it pure or impure, becomes pure by purification. Yeah, like वो शुद्धिकरण कारण बोलते हैं जिसको, वो तो करना पड़ता है even before giving alcohol. Holding a cup made of human skull and wearing the Rudraksha, the Siddhantachari moves on earth in the form of Bhairava himself. The knowledge of the last achara, that of the caller, makes one Shiva. The knowledge of the last achara, the Kaulachara, makes one Shiva, makes the person Shiva. Just as the footprint of every animal disappears in that of the elephant, so every dharma is lost in the greatness of Kula dharma. Here there are no injunctions or prohibitions, no restrictions as to time or place. In fact, no rule at all. A Kaula is himself Guru and Sadashiva, and none are superior to him. Kaulas are of 3 classes. Inferior, the ordinary or Prakrita Kola, who is ever engaged in rituals such as japa, homa, puja, follows Vyachara, or was it supposed to be Virachara? I don't know if it's a printing mistake. Follows Virachara with Panchatattva and strives to attain the high land of knowledge. The middle Kola is one who does sadhana with Panchatattva, is deeply immersed in meditation, dhyana and samadhi. The superior Kola is the superior Kola who says, "O mistress of the Kolas, sees the imperishable and all-pervading self in all things and all things in the self." Okay, who sees mistress of the Kolas, O mistress of the Kolas, sees the imperishable and all-pervading self in all things and all things in the self. Wow. Sees all-pervading self in all things and sees all things in the self. He is a good Kola who makes no distinction between mud and sandal paste, gold and straw, a home and the cremation ground. He is a superior Kola who meditates on the self with the self, who has equal regard for all, who is full of contentment, forgiveness and compassion. Nitya Tantra says that Kolas move about in various shapes, now as an ordinary man of the world adhering to social rules or Shishta, at other times as one who has fallen therefrom, Bhrashta. At other times he seems to be as weird and unearthly as a ghost, Bhuta. Kolachara is, it says, the essence which is obtained from the ocean of Veda and Agama after churning it with the staff of knowledge. What a name. So Kolachara कैसे प्रिपेयर हुआ है? वेदा और आगमा को ऐसे कुकिंग के जैसे चर्न करके, और चर्न किससे किया गया? विद द स्टाफ ऑफ नॉलेज. नॉलेज से वेदा और आगमा को मिक्स करके कौलाचारा निकला है. In a modern account of the acharas, see Sanatana Sadhana Tattva or Tantra Rahasya by Sachidananda Swami. It is said that some speak of Aghodachara and Yogachara as two further divisions between the last but one at last. Okay, between the last but one and last. However this may be, the Aghoras of today are a separate sect who, it is alleged, have degenerated into mere eaters of corpses. Though Aghora is said to only mean one who is liberated from the terrible Ghora or Samsara. Ghor, oh, acha. In Bengali we use this term colloquially. ঘোরের মধ্যে চলে গেছে, সেই ঘোরে যে নেই সেই অঘোরি. Wow. In Yogachara was learned the upper heights of sadhana and the mysteries of yoga, such as the movements of the Vayu in the bodily microcosm. Kshudra Brahmanda. Kshudra, okay, not Shudra, Kshudra. The regulation of which controls the inclinations and propensities, vritti. Yogachara is entered by Yoga Diksha, and achievement in Ashtanga Yoga qualifies for Kolachara. Whether there were such further divisions I cannot at present say. I prefer for the time being to follow Kularnava, the author himself. Okay, the Swami's account of these is as follows. Vedachara, which consists in the daily practice of the Vedic rites, which with, I may add, some tantric observances, is the gross body, sthula deha, which comprises within it all other acharas, which are, as it were, its subtle body, the sukshma deha of various degrees. The worship is largely of an external character, the object of which is to strengthen dharma. Okay, the worship is largely of an external character, the object of which is to strengthen dharma. This is the path of action, kriya marga. This and some other observations may be a modern reading of the old facts, but are on the whole, I think, justified. The second stage of Vaishnavachara is the path of devotion, bhakti marga, and the aim is union of devotion with faith, previously acquired. Union of devotion with faith which was previously acquired. Faith पहले से ही था, उसके बाद devotion को मिला दिया गया faith से. That is bhakti marg. The worshipper passes from blind faith to an understanding of the supreme protecting energy of the Brahman, towards which his devotion goes forth. This is Vaishnavachara. Interesting. This seems like a pretty legit thing. The worshipper passes from blind faith to an understanding of the supreme protecting energy of the Brahman, towards which his devotion goes forth. The main thing I like about it here, like about this here, is that Even the primary sources acknowledge that there is something called blind faith, but there is something in the next steps of the blind faith, but there's no other way to start with other than blind faith. Like, again, learning anything, learning music or something, you have to sit and do basic saregama, or just da 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 da. Not even saregama, it's just chromatic scale practice in an instrument, just because you know it will help you later on. It does not mean anything. It's not even a musical lesson, okay? But you have to practice it because your fingers need to be flexible. Your fingers need to gain that dexterity. I don't know what the word is. So later on, you will move on to creating or learning actual music. That's how it is. You have to start with blind faith. You have to start with idols and yantras. With an increasing determination to uphold dharma and to destroy adharma, the sadhaka passes into the third stage, or shaivachara, which the author which the author who is cited here calls the militant or kshatriya stage. Acha, shaivachara is the kshatriya stage, wherein to love and mercy are added strenuous striving and the cultivation of power. There is union of faith, devotion, and inward determination, antarlaksha. Entrance is here made upon the path of knowledge, jnana marga. Following this is the fourth stage, or dakshinachara, which originally and in Tantra Shastra does not mean right hand worship, but according to the author cited is the achara favorable to the accomplishment of the higher sadhana, of which Dakshina Kalika is Devi. The Vishwasara already cited derives the word from Dakshinamurti Muni, but Dakshina in either case has the same meaning. Dakshina Kali is a Devi of Uttaramnaya, and approach is here made to Veera rituals. This stage commences when the worshipper can make dhyana and dharana of the threefold Shakti of the Brahman, Ichha, Kriya, and Jnana, and understands the mutual connection of the three, and of their expression as the gunas, and until he receives the rite of initiation called Purnabhisheka. Wow. Ichha, Kriya, and Jnana. Will to do something, the action itself, and the knowledge of what we are supposed to do. At this stage, the sadhaka is Shakta and qualified for the worship of the threefold Shakti of Brahman, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. He worships the Adya Shakti as Dakshina Kalika, in whom are united the three Shaktis. The aim of this stage is the union of faith, devotion, and determination with a knowledge of the threefold energies. Passage is thus made from the Deva aspect to the Deva whole. Wow, what an important line. Passage is thus made from the Deva aspect to the Deva whole. Up to this stage, the sadhaka has followed pravritti marga, or the outgoing path, the path of outwardly enjoyment, albeit curbed by dharma. The sadhaka now, upon the exhaustion of the forces of the outward content, makes entry on the path of return, nivritti marga. As this change is one of primary importance, some have divided the acharas into the two broad divisions of Dakshinachara, including the first four, and Vamachara, including the last three. Strictly, however, the first three can only be thus included in the sense that they are preparatory to Dakshinachara. Okay, yeah, preparatory to Dakshinachara proper, and are all in the Pravritti Marga and are not Vamachara. It is thus said that men are born into Dakshinachara but are received by initiation into Vamachara. Okay, I have to underline this. People are born into Dakshinachara but are received by initiation into Vamachara. As Dakshinachara does not mean right hand worship, so Vamachara does not mean, as is vulgarly supposed, left hand worship. Left hand in English has a bad sense, and it is not sense to suppose that the Shastra which describes this achara is itself gives it a bad name. Vama is variously interpreted. Some say it is the worship in which woman or Vama enters, that is Lata Sadhana. Vama, this author says, means adverse, that is the stage adverse to the pravritti, which governs in varying degrees the previous acharas, because entry here is made on the nivritti path of return to the source of outgoing. In this achara also there is worship of the Vama Devi. In Vamachara, the sadhaka commences to directly destroy pravritti, and with the help of the guru, he tries to cultivate nivritti. The help of the guru throughout is necessary.
It is comparatively easy to lay down rules for the pravritti marga, but nothing can be achieved in Vamachara without the Guru's help. Some of the disciplines are admittedly dangerous, and if entered upon without authority and discretion, will probably lead to abuse. The method of the Guru at this stage is to use the forces of pravritti in such a way as to render them self-destructive. The passions which bind, not notably the fundamental instincts for food, drink, and sexual satisfaction, maybe it is said so employed as to act as forces whereby the particular life of which they are the strongest physical manifestation is raised to the universal life. Okay, this kind of answers Abhay's question. Okay. Now Abhay would ask, why should we raise ourselves to the universal life? The particular life which is of which they are the strongest physical manifestation is raised to the universal life. Passion, which has hitherto run downward and outwards, pravritti marga, often to waste, is directed inward, nivritti marga, and upwards and transformed to power. But it is not only the lower physical desires of eating, drinking, and sexual intercourse which must be subjugated. The sadhaka must at this stage commence. The process continues until the fruit, the phala of kaulachara, is obtained. The sadhaka must at this stage commence to cut off all the 8 bonds or pasha, okay? All the 8 bonds which have made him a pashu, for up to and including dakshinachara is pashu worship. Okay. Pasha danda. These pasha, bonds or afflictions, are variously enumerated, but the more numerous classifications are merely elaborations of the smaller divisions. Thus, according to the Devi Bhagavat, moha is ignorance or bewilderment, and mahamoha is the desire for worldly pleasure which flows from it. Oh, okay. So moha is ignorance which gives rise to mahamoha. In other words, worldly pleasure, desire for worldly pleasure, that comes from ignorance and bewilderment. Okay, great. Yeah, that makes sense. Desire for worldly pleasure comes from ignorance itself. The Kularnava Tantra mentions 8 primary bonds. Daya, that is pity, as the feeling which binds, as opposed to divine compassion or karuna. Holy shit! This is what I always speak of, the Abrahamic sympathy, the savior complex, which in other words is called pity colloquially. That is of course daya, and that is a bond, that is a flaw. Daya, moha, ignorance, lajja, shame, which does not mean that a man is to be a shameless sinner, but weak worldly shame of being looked down upon, okay? Jishu pujo. Of infringing conventions and so forth. Family, kula, which ceases to be a tie. Shila, here usage or convention, okay? Shil, mane, shilata. And varna, caste. For the enlightened is beyond all its distinctions, therefore he can't have any varna. Wow. When, to take the Swami's example, Sri Krishna stole the clothes of the bathing gopis or milkmaids and cowherds and made them approach him naked, he removed the artificial coverings which are imposed on man in the samsara. The gopis were 8, as are the bonds, and the errors by which the jiva is misled are the clothes which Krishna stole. Freed of these, the jiva is liberated from all bonds arising from his desires, family, and society. Formerly, it was sufficient to live in worldly fashion, according to the morality governing life in the world. Now the sadhaka must go further and transcend the world, or rather seek to do so. He rises by those things which are commonly the cause of fall. Wow. This is getting trickier and trickier. He rises by those things which are usually the cause of fall. When he has completely achieved his purpose and liberated himself from all bonds, he reaches the stage of Shiva or Shivatva. Shibotto Labh. It is the aim of the Nivritti Sadhana to liberate man from the bonds which bind him to the samsara, and to qualify the Vida Sadhaka through Rajasika Upasana. Rajasika Upasana, see chapter on Panchatattva, of the highest, through Rajasika Upasana of the highest grades of sadhana, in which the Sattvika Guna predominates. Sattvika Guna. The Sattvika Tantra, there is specifically for Sattvika way to do it. That is where Mamsa, Matsya, Madhya have completely different meanings, and there is no actual meat, fish, or alcohol involved. He is then divya or divine. Yeah, exactly what I said. That sattvika path is for people with divya bhava, or it is spoken of in different ways. Like if you have divya bhava, you approach the sattvika path, or if you're looking to have sattvika guna, then you then you have to try to become the divya, I guess, or you have to try to have gain the divya bhava. To the truly sattvic, there is neither attachment, fear, nor disgust, ghrina. What is thus commenced in Vamachara is gradually completed by the rituals of Siddhantachara and Kaulachara. Okay? What is thus commenced in Vamachara is gradually completed by the rituals of the Siddhantachara and Kaulachara. In the last three acharas, the sadhaka becomes more and more freed from the darkness of samsara and is attached to nothing, hates nothing, is ashamed of nothing. Really shameful acts being ex hypothesis below his required stage, and has freed himself of the artificial bonds of family, caste, society. He becomes an avadhuta, that is, one who has washed off everything and has relinquished the world. Of these, as stated later, there are several classes. For him, there is no rule of time or place. He becomes like Shiva himself, a dweller in the cremation ground, smashana. He attains Brahma Jnana, or the gnosis, in perfect form. On receiving Mahapurna Diksha, he performs his own funeral rites and is dead to the samsara. Seated alone in some quiet place, he remains in constant samadhi, ecstasy, and attains it in its highest or nirvikalpa form, nirvikalpa samadhi. The great mother, the supreme Prakriti, Mahashakti, dwells in his heart, which is now the inner cremation ground wherein all passions have been burnt away. He becomes a Paramhamsa who is liberated whilst yet living, Jivan Mukta. Okay, a paragraph has just ended. Let's see how much longer this is. My brain is getting fried. Oh dear God. I'm going to finish this chapter anyway, even if no one is online. Let me have some coffee. Oh, okay. Linguistic pride debate is going on. From the above, it will be seen that the acharas are not various sects in the European sense, but stages in a continuous process through which the sadhaka must pass. Oh, yeah, guys, check out this. This is a new way of looking at it. All these sampradayas, acharas, sects are not sects as in you are set for life in that particular sect. Usme hi jivan, usme hi mrityu. These are all stages of life, at least according to one school of thought here. From the above, it will be seen that the acharas are not various sects in the European sense, but stages in a continuous process through which the sadhaka must pass before he reaches the supreme state of the highest kala. For the kala are of differing degrees. Passing from the gross outer body of Vedachara, he learns its innermost core of doctrine, not expressed but latent in it. These stages need not be and are not ordinarily passed through by each jiva in the course of a single life. On the contrary, they are as a rule traversed in the course of a multitude of births, in which case the weaving of the spiritual garment is recommended where in a previous birth it was dropped on death. In one life the sadhaka may commence at any stage. If he is a true caller now, it is because in previous births he has by sadhana in the preliminary stages won his entrance into it. Knowledge of Shakti is as the Niruttara Tantra says, acquired after many births. Knowledge of Shakti is, as the Niruttara Tantra says, knowledge of Shakti is acquired after many births. And according to the Mahanirvana Tantra, it is by merit acquired in previous births that the mind is inclined to Kaulachara. Kaula Dharma is in no wise sectarian, is in no wise sectarian. Kaula Dharma is not sectarian, but on the contrary, claims to be the head of all sects. It is said, at heart a Shakta, outwardly a Shaiva, in gatherings a Vaishnava, who are wont to gather together for worship in praise of Hari. In thus many a guise the callers wander on earth. Okay, so who is a true caller? A caller is a Vaishnava in public, outwardly is a Shaiva, and at heart is a Shakta. Anta Shakta Bahi Shaiva Sabhayam Vaishnava Mata Nana Rupadhara Kaula Vicharanti Mahitale. The saying has been said to be an expression of this claim, which is I think involved in it. It does, however, also I think indicate secrecy and adaptability to sectarian form of him who has pierced to the core of that which all sects in varying though partial ways present. A caller is one who has passed through these and other stages which have as their own inmost doctrine, whether these worshippers know it or not, and they are that of Kalachara. Okay, a caller is one who has passed through these and other stages which have as their own inmost doctrine that of Kalachara, whether these worshippers know it or not. It is indifferent that the caller's apparent sect, what it may be. The form is nothing and the form is everything. The form is nothing and everything. It is nothing in the sense that it has no power to narrow the caller's inner life. It is everything in the sense that knowledge may infuse its apparent limitations with an universal meaning. A man may thus live in all sects without their form being ever to him a bond. In Vedic times there were 4 ashramas, that is, states and stages in the life of the Arya, namely in their order, that of the chaste student, brahmacharya, secular life as a married householder, grihastha, the life of the forest recluse with his wife in retirement from the world, vanaprastha, lastly that of the beggar, bhikshu or avadhuta, wholly detached from the world, spending his time in meditation on the supreme Brahman in preparation for shortly coming death. All these 4 were for the Brahmana caste, the first 3 for the Kshatriya, the first 2 for the Vaishya, that is brahmacharya and grihastha, and for the Shudra the second only. This is mentioned in Yoga Yagya Valkya. So Shudra ke liye kaun sa hai? The second only. So grihastha. Okay, married secular life as a married householder, grihastha is for the Shudra. Yeah, and that is why Sanjay Dixit says actually the easiest life according to rules would be for the Shudra. As neither the conditions of life nor the character, capacity and powers of the people of this age allow of the first and third ashrama, the Mahanirvana Tantra states that in the Kali Yuga there are only 2 ashramas, namely the second and last, that is the Bhikshu stage and the Grihastha stage, and those are open to all castes indiscriminately. The same Tantra, the Mahanirvana Tantra, which apparently was followed by Ram Mohan Roy, speaks of 4 classes of Kula yogis or avadhutas, namely the Shaiva Vadhuta and Brahma Vadhuta, which are of 2 kinds, imperfect and perfect, Apurna and Purna. The first 3 have enjoyment and practice yoga. The 4th or Paramahamsa should be absolutely chaste, meaning brahmacharya, and should not touch metal. He is beyond all household duties and caste and ritual, such as the offering of food and drink to Devta. The Bhairava Damara classes the Avadhuta into A. Kulavadhuta, Shaiva Vadhuta, Brahma Vadhuta, Hamsa Vadhuta, and Hamsa Vadhuta. Some speak of 3 divisions of each of the classes, Shaiva's classes, Saiva Vadhuta and Brahma Vadhuta. See Introduction to Tantra Shastra, which we have read. The Shaiva Vadhutas are not either from a Western or Shastric standpoint as high as the Brahma Vadhuta. The lowest of the last class can have intercourse only with the own wife, Svaviya Shakti, as opposed to the Shaiva Shakti. Svaviya Shakti as opposed to the Shaiva Shakti. The middle has ordinarily nothing to do with any Shakti, and the highest must under no circumstances touch a woman or metal, nor does he practice any rites or keep any observances. The main divisions here are Vedachara, Dakshinachara, and Vamachara. Vedachara is not Vedikachara, that is in the Shrauta sense, because the Shrauta Vedikachara appears to be outside this sevenfold tantric division of which Vedachara is the tantric counterpart. For it is a tantric upasana with Vedic rites and mantras, with, I have been told, Agni as Devta. As a speculation, we may suggest that this achara was for those not adhikari for what is called the Shrauta Vedikachara. The second and third belong and leap up to the completed Dakshinachara. This is Pashvachara. Vamachara, Pashva meaning again those bonds, okay, things holding you back. जिससे पशु का word आता है. Vamachara commences the other mode of worship leading up to the completed Kaula, the Kaula Vadhuta, Avadhuta and Divya. Here, with the attainment of Brahma Jnana, we reach the region which is beyond all acharas, which is known as Shvechachara. All that meaning doing whatever you want, more or less loosely. All that those belonging to this state do or touch is pure. In and after Vamachara, there is eating and drinking in as part of worship and Maithuna. After the Pashu state, there is the Vira and then the Divya Bhava. Pashu is the starting point, Vira is on the way, and Divya is the goal. So, interestingly, when you have actually reached the goal, you will stop offering goat as an offering to the goddess. Each of the sects has a Dakshina and Vama division. It is commonly thought that this is peculiar to Shaktas, but that is not so. Thus, there are Vama Ganapatyas and Vaishnavas and so forth. Okay. Again, Vamachara is itself divided again into a right and left side. In the former, wine is taken in a cup of stone or other substance, and worship is with Svakiya Shakti or Sadhaka's own wife. In the latter and more advanced stage, latter meaning in the left side of Vamachara, the Vama of Vamachara. In that stage, more advanced stage, drinking is done from a skull, and worship may be with Parastri, that is some other Shakti. In the case, however, of some sects which belong to the Vamachara division, whilst there is meat and wine, there is, I am told, no Shakti for the members, no Shakti, because the members are chaste or brahmachari. So far as I can ascertain, these sects which are mentioned later seem to belong to the Shaiva as opposed to the Shakta group. The Tantric Samgraha called Shaktananda Tarangini by Brahmananda Swami says that Agama is both Sadagama and Asadagama, and that the Sadagama alone is Agama according to the primary meaning of the word. Sadagama eva Agama sabdasya mukhyatvat. He then says that Shiva in the Agama Samhita condemns the Asadagama, saying, O Deveshi, men in the Kali Yuga are generally of a Rajasic and Tamasic disposition, and being addicted to forbidden ways, deceive many others. O Sureshwari, those who in disregard of their Varnashrama Dharma offer to us flesh, blood and wine become Bhutas, Pretas and Brahma Rakshasas. That is, various forms of evil spirits. Okay. So, see what happens when you when you offer flesh, blood and wine without your Varnashrama Dharma. This prohibits such worship as is opposed to Varnashrama Dharma. It is said, however, by the Vamacharis who take consecrated Karan, consecrated wine and flesh as a yagya, not to cover their case. This does not cover them. It is not uncommonly thought that Vamachara is that achara into which Vama or woman enters. This is true only to a certain extent. That is, it is a true definition of those sadhakas who do worship with Shakti according to Vamachara rites, but it seems to be incorrect insofar as there are, I am told, worshippers of the Vamachara division who are brahmachari. Vamachara means literally left way, not left-handed in the English sense, which means what is bad. As the name is given to these sadhakas by themselves, it is not likely that they would adopt a title which condemns them. What they mean is that this achara is the opposite of dakshinachara. Philosophically, it is more monistic. Oh, more monistic. So, being one with God. It is said that even in the highest siddhi of a dakshinachari, there is always someone above him. But the fruit of vamachara and its subsequent and highest stages is that of the but the fruit of vamachara and its subsequent and highest stages is that the sadhaka becomes the emperor himself. The bhava differs, and the power of its method compared with dakshinachara is said to be that between milk and wine. The bhava differs, and the power of its method compared with dakshinachara is said to be that of the difference between milk and wine. Moreover, it is to be noted that the Devi whom they worship is on the left of Shiva. In Vamachara, we find Kapalikas, Kalamukhas, Pashupatas, Bhandikeras, Digambaras, Aghoras, followers of Chinachara, and Kaulas generally who are initiated. Meaning Dikshit. In some cases, as in that of the advanced division of Kaulas, worship is with all 5 tattvas, Panchatattva. In some cases, there is brahmacharya, as in the case of Aghora and Pashupata. Though these sects drink wine and eat flesh food, meat, some vamacharis, I am informed, never cease to be chaste. They never be brahmachari, such as Oghara, sadhus, worshippers of Batuka Bhairava, Kathadhari, Kanthadhari, and followers of Gorakkhanatha, Sitanatha, and Matchendranatha of UP. In Nilakrama, there is no Maithuna. In some sects, there are differing practices. Diversity. Thus, I am told, amongst the Kalamukhas, the Kalaviras only worship Kumaris up to the age of 9, whereas the Kamamohanas worship with adult Shaktis. Some advanced members of this, in its general sense, Vamachara division, do not, I am informed, even take some advanced members of this Vamachara division do not, I am informed, even take wine and meat. Exactly what I was saying. It is said that the great Vamachari sadhaka Raja Krishna Chandra of Nadia, Raja Krishna Chandra, Upasaka of the Chinnamasta Murti, did not take wine. Such and similar sadhakas have passed beyond the preliminary stage of Vamachara, and indeed, in its special sense, they have passed beyond Vamachara itself. They may be Brahma Kaulas. As regards sadhakas, generally it is well to remember what the Mahakala Samhita, the great what's this word? Oh, the great Shastra. The great Shastra of the Madhyastha Kaulas says in the 11th Ullasa called Sarira Yoga Kathanam, that some Kaulas there are who seek the God. Some Kaulas there are who seek the God of this world, Ahikartha Dhritatmana. So also the Vedikas enjoy what is here, Ahikartham Kamayante, as do I may interpose the vast bulk of present humanity, and are not seekers of liberation. Amrite Ratim na Kurvanti. Only by Nishkama Sadhana is liberation attained. Nishkama Sadhana. The Panchatattva are either real, substitutional, or esoteric. Okay? Different kinds of Panchatattvas. The Panchatattvas are either real, in the case of real, meaning Pratyaksha, idealizing statements to the contrary are, when not due to ignorance, false, or are substitutional, Anukalpa, or esoteric, Divya Tattva. In that Divya Tattva, the Matsya, Mamsa, Madhya is not meat and fish and wine. As regards the second, which is the Anukalpa, even a vegetarian would not object to meat, which is in fact ginger, nor the abstainer would object to wine, which is coconut water. Oh, listen to this. So, the vegetarian would not object to mamsa because mamsa for him would be ginger, okay, and and for him wine would be coconut water in a ball metal vessel, As for the esoteric tattva, they are not material articles or practices but the symbols of yogic processes. Okay, तो उनके लिए एक्चुअल कोई ऑब्जेक्ट है भी नहीं मांस मत्स्य और मध्य का. Again, some notions and practices are more moderate and others are extreme. The account given in the Mahanirvana of the Bhairavi and Tattva chakras may be compared with some more unrestrained practice. And the former again may be contrasted with a modern chakra described in the 13th chapter of the life of Bijoy Krishna Goswami by Jagatbandhu Moitro. There, Tantric Siddha formed a chakra at which the Goswami was present. The latter says that all who were there felt as if the Shakti was their own mother who had borne them. And the Devatas whom the Chakreshwara invoked appeared in the circle to accept the offerings. Whether this is accepted as a fact or not, it is obvious that it was intended to describe a chakra of a different kind from that of which we have more commonly heard. There are some practices which are not correctly understood. There are some principles which the bulk of men will not understand. Because for to so understand, there must be, besides knowledge, that undefinable bhava, the possession of which carries with it the explanation which no words can give. I have dealt with this subject in the chapter on the Panchatattva. There are expressions which do not bear their surface meaning. Gomamsa bhakshana is not beef eating, but putting the tongue in the root of the throat. Listen to this. These are the things that people used to say that beef eating is justified. Gomamsa bhakshana is not beef eating. It is about putting the tongue in the root of the throat. What some translate as ravishing the widow refers not to a woman but to a process in Kundalini yoga and so forth. Lastly, and this is important, a distinction is seldom, if ever, made between Shastric principles and actual practice, nor is count taken of the conditions properly governing the worship and its abuse. It is easy to understand that if Hinduism has in general degenerated, there has been a fall here. It was not meant to be. It is, however, a mistake to suppose that the sole object of these rites is enjoyment. It is not necessary to be a tantric for that. The moral of all this is that, yeah, if it was meant for enjoyment, why would you have to be a tantric? ऐसे ही करो घर में बैठ के. It is not necessary to be a tantric for that. The moral of all this is that it is better to know the facts than to make erroneous generalizations. There are said to be 3 krantas or geographical divisions of India, which roughly speaking, the northeastern portion is Vishnu Kranta, the northwestern Ratha Kranta, and the remaining and southern portion is Ashwa Kranta. According to the Shakta Mangala and Mahasiddhisara Tantras, Vishnu Kranta, which includes Bengal, extends from the Vindhya range to Chattala or Chittagong, जिससे ही वो चैटर्जी सरनेम आया है, चट्टोपाध्याय. चट्टला एरिया का उपाध्याय जो होते थे उनका सरनेम हुआ चट्टोपाध्याय और वो ब्रिटिश के नीचे बन गया चैटर्जी. From Vindhya to Tibet and China and China is Rathakranta. What if China was pronounced China? There is then some difference between these two tantras as to the position of Ashwakranta. According to the first, this last Kranta extends from the Vindhya to the sea. Okay, my brain is not functioning at all. This is getting a little easier, so to speak, but a lot is still left. So we can start do this the next day. We will just 6 pages are left. We will start from here and then move on to the next chapter because the next chapter is a bit shorter. Oh yeah. There are then notes for this chapter. Oh, so actually it's 10 pages are left of this chapter. So yeah, let's not do this today. Otherwise I won't be able to retain any of this knowledge. This is where we will start from next day. Okay, let me now check some comments and have some coffee. Oh, fuck. So if ginger is meat, can we be sure which mamsa is being talked about in Ramayana? If mamsa is Ramayana, depends on who is translating it. There should be something to gain, otherwise they won't be motivated to learn it. If you just say they should learn, nobody learns as they see no point. Yeah. Abhay has typed in any Indian languages in keyboard. You know how difficult it is. Will this be incentive?
Incentives are what make anything work. Yes, we should take approach of EU where every country uses their own language in their own country for official communication. Same should be done by each Indian state. This was deep and advanced. So much is left. We have still done pretty much. We have made good progress on this book. We have already read and discussed this much. I went into a complete different zone. I forgot I am here. Okay. I was imagining and visualizing so many different things. This is what they mean. See, I'm just reading a book on Tantra and I'm visualizing so many things that I'm transported to somewhere else. What do you think is going to happen when you do the practices according to their step-by-step process and rules? What experiences will you have? I'm having an experience at the moment. I'm completely having a tough time remembering where everything is. Where is the page mark? Yeah. This was so fascinating. And we are just taking the scholarly approach here. We are not even taking the practitioner's approach. We are just knowing things, knowing what is there to even approach or to learn about. उससे ही इतना experiences हो गया दिमाग में. We were reading a really interesting section yesterday. Yes, yesterday's Brahma Puran got interrupted. We will finish that one. I think day after tomorrow. Tomorrow I plan to do a Bengali live stream from my new Bengali channel where I have done only one live stream and the audio got screwed up. We will start a completely different book and start it afresh from tomorrow in my Bengali channel. It's called Jadupur Bishobidda. Interacting with government is different. Yeah, yeah. Matras are difficult to write on the keyboard. Yes. The other Brahma Puran. Yeah, day after tomorrow, most probably. Okay then. Sorry to break up your the good conversation and constructive debate you all are having, but I am ending now. Good night, guys. We will continue this discussion some other day. Thank you for joining the live stream, guys. Good night.